Wednesday to you all. Hope you all are having a wonderful week so far. Apologies for the late start. Obviously, technical difficulties on my part. Um, but happy Hallows Eve, I guess, to you. You know, the pre Halloween. This is Midnight Hatter Live, the weekly variety show where we talk Gundam, Gunpla, and gaming. I'm Steven, aka Midnight Hatter, your host. Joining me as always, the Blue Gamer Gundam Explainer, Adam Blue. And tonight we have a very special trio of guests.
Hallows Eve, I guess.
Oh yeah. So we've got the stars of the Undergated network, Coop, Austen, and CD. How are you guys doing? Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Appreciate you having us,
Good
man.
evening.
So this is
Absolutely.
going to be
Thanks for
fun
having
because
us.
this is the biggest like panel we've ever done on this show. We've max 4 people on the show. So I'm really excited because that means that we're probably going to be talking over each other a lot. So but
And I'll
that's
try
always
to
fun.
tone it down. We know how I can get, so
You're right. Yeah, if we get too excited, let us know. But yeah, so I have to tell my personal story of how I kind of stumbled across your guys' content because I was at the Gundam based mobile tour here in Richmond, Virginia, and I was in line for like 2.5 hours and talking to other Gundam fans there, and some of them were like, it was like the typical, "Hey, we like Ray Studio. Here's this Instagram account. Have you ever heard of this guy?" And I'm like, "It's actually 6 guys," but you know, um, and then someone said like, "Oh, well, have you seen Gunpla Tesseract?" I was like, I don't know who this is. And so, Austin, they were putting me onto your content and saying like, "Oh, this is fantastic builder. He hosts this show." And I was like, "This is fantastic." And, local to my area. So I was like, this is sweet. So I gave all 3 of you a follow, checked out the podcast. I love the topics that you guys dive into, we typically don't even get into very heavy topics on this show. Somehow we always seem to get into like, talking about life and fatherhood and all kinds of weird stuff. But and we get there through Gundam, as it turns out. But for those in the audience who aren't familiar with your work, could each of you kind of introduce yourself and give us like a 10,000-foot view of what you guys do?
You first,
Absolutely.
Cooper. You first, Cooper.
All right, no worries. I'm Coop. It's Coop on Instagram. Um, Toy photography, Gunpla, and that my Instagram. It's Coop is going to have the toy photography side of things, where like my BTS and Gunpla related stuff is always going to be on the Undergated network page on Instagram. Gunpla group that talks about a little bit of everything every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Pacific time, every Wednesday for what CD Austin? How many weeks now? As of today,
107. We're on episode 107.
100,
So
107
107 straight
today.
107 straight,
Wednesdays. Yep.
107 straight Wednesdays, where you get an episode at 3 p.m.
That's a
Eastern
great
time. But that's me,
streak.
Austin. Thank you. Talk to
Yeah,
him, Austin.
I'm Gunpla Tesseract, also known as Austin. I was just a builder here in Newport News, just chilling around, putting model kits together somehow. And Cooper, the man up here in the corner, came to us with an idea, and he brought me in, and now I'm here. That's how I got here. The short Batman origin story. Some guy found me, plucked me off the street, trained me, made me who I am today. And now I'm here. Hello. All right, CD, how about you, buddy?
Yep. So everybody calls me CD, but that's short for Chloe's dad. I have a daughter. Her name's Chloe, so that's where the name comes from. Um, I'm on the West Coast, so a little bit of time change between us, but we make it work. But yeah, I've been building Gundam since 2000. So I've been in the game for a while, but really love painting, really love Gunpla, I really love reading. So get the best of everything.
Very nice. Yeah, so I mean, you're a veteran in the space. So what was your guys' first introduction into Gundam and Gunpla? I mean, since 2000, that's got to be like Toonami days, right?
So you know it.
Yeah.
First, I'll never forget the day. It might have been like 3 o'clock in the morning on like a Tuesday. I'm like, no business being up, but I catch Shinlong Gundam Wing arm blazing through all these Leos, and like once I saw that, I was like, oh, what is this? And I was already into anime then. Like my sister worked at Hollywood Video, so I used to go to work with her and watch anime and stuff like that. But when I seen Shinlong and Gundam Wing, I was like, oh, I'm hooked. What is this? What is this? And I've been I've been in love with it ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, same here. I love
Yeah,
hearing
I
people's
think
like
say
stories because most of us are like Toonami kids, but then, every now and again
Yeah.
it's like you get that random like, oh, like you said, working at Hollywood Video, we had someone on that was like, oh, my parents owned a video store, and so I watched every anime that was coming through the shop. Like,
Yep.
but yeah, what about you, Austin?
For getting into Gunpla,
Yeah.
it was for me it was I watched the Toonami shows obviously, was in love with all of them, and G Gundam, Wing especially. I would literally run around the house pretending I had a beam rifle, just blasting away pretend C5 Galaxy airplanes, while I'm on an Air Force base. But I didn't I got into Gundam, loved Gundam ever since then. Love the lore, looked into stuff, but I didn't get into building it until around 2019, somewhere right there. I was working at Target, and there were some Gundam kits that they were starting to sell inside of Target. And I was young, and I believed I had disposable income because I thought
Yes.
I got a paycheck. That means I can spend it on stuff. So I was like, let me get this. And then I don't know. From there, I just looked at videos, and then I saw Ray Studios. Funny you bring him up. I
Yeah.
saw his Gym Sniper 2 build, and I said, "Oh, I want mine to look just like that. Oh, it's gonna look awesome." It didn't turn out like that.
No,
It looked horrible.
it never does.
But but
it
you know
looks
what?
good.
I kept
Yeah,
yeah, I
don't
kept
let off. It definitely good.
Yeah.
it looked okay. And I just kept at it, and got to meet some people, went to a hobby shop, got to a Gundam club that accepted me in. Marvin, shout out to him, who runs Hobbytown USA in Yorktown, Virginia now. Gundam meet, and just went there every day, and that's how I met these guys essentially. Um, yeah.
Now, Coop, before we get into your backstory here, I do want to ask: does that so the Yorktown location, they just had the Gundam Builder World Cup event there, right? Or is it coming up soon?
It's coming up.
Coming up,
It's
because
coming up.
yeah, because I know the one here in Glen Allen is like in a couple days, so which I'm totally
No, that one's No, that one's in 3 weeks.
yeah, November.
November 16th.
Mm-hmm. See, you guys are on top of
So
it.
we
Are you
got
competing?
Oh no, not me. I don't have anything ready. Not after getting embarrassed by just the local Hobbytown contest.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
But no, I
exactly.
mean it's a humbling experience, and I think that everyone should do it just for the sake of doing it. So, but yeah, what about you, Coop? How did you get into Gundam and Gunpla? Did you start
Absolutely.
with photography
Growing up,
first?
no, well, back in the day, I was a Toonami kid, right? So I remember Peter Cullen, right, when those intros came out, and I remember it saying, I think it was like March 26, 2002, coming soon. Like, and that's how far back I go. So I go pretty far back. In Gundam Wing, I'm considered what you call a Gundam Wing stand. I'm beyond a fan, so
Extremist.
I'm past the point. The extremist, as we
Yes.
would say
An
on the
old extremist.
podcast, an extremist. So built model kits. I remember the no grade red boxes at Toys R Us for Endless Waltz, the old Endless Waltz model kits, the high grades as well with the theatrical art on the front. So I did that, did Zoids, got out of it for a while, quite some time. And because of football, I was big into sports growing up. After I graduated high school, my buddy Court, shout out to him, he would tell me about a local convention down here in Newport News called NecoCon. NecoCon got me. It's actually this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It got me back into. I think he said it's the second, third biggest anime convention on the East Coast. And going to that I was able to get back into like anime and collecting. I got into was Funkos. If people collect Funkos, did a YouTube channel. Went by Funko Cop. That was my name on a YouTube channel. Did a lot of toy hunts. That's what got me really into YouTube. And from there, I was in law enforcement. I was in law enforcement for about 5 years.
Wow.
And one of the things I did in while I was in law enforcement, I got injured, and for the deal with the injury and PTSD, I would watch my local guys who do toy hunts. And one, not a local guy, but my guy that does toy hunts. His name is Jimpy Zayal. He was toy hunt. In he lives in Florida. So when he lives in Florida, he was toy hunting. At the time, he was toy hunting for Gunpla. So that got me back into Gunpla, watching his toy hunt videos, get into Hobby Town, meeting people like Austen, same story. So I got into the Gunpla, fell in love with the lore, and met Austen, and we've been rocking ever since.
I love that. So and
That's
so
cool.
would you consider yourself, of the three of you, you kind of seem to have the most like branding around your content creation, right? Because, you know, like you said, you got into YouTube pretty early and you started off, you know, kind of in the collector space and then kind of moved towards the photography and then slowly kind of migrated into Gunpla as your interest kind of
Correct.
reemerged, right? Like, I mean, I kind of had the same thing going on where it was like, you know, I was really into anime in high school when it was cool to be into anime, and then, you know, sports and girls kind of took over as I got older, and, you know, then after I got out of
It's
college, it was like,
Mhm.
you know what, I really like playing with these model kits again. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it
but
was.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it went from grown getting back into it. So I was collecting Funkos and statues. So some of these statues, hot toys, and then once I was home for a little bit because of the injury, sat there watched, like I said, my buddy Jim Pizao. He was at Barnes and Noble, GameStops. This is back maybe about 2018, and then a couple of his local uh, figure stores down in Florida, and he was going after the Banshee. And I remember going into GameStop and seeing this Sazabi real great, and I said, "This is no way a Gundam," because the only thing I knew was Gundam Wing. I was like,
right,
"This ain't no Gundam. I don't know what." Then I got, and then I got hooked, and I remember looking on the GameStop app, and it was like clearance. And when I get hooked, I get hooked. That's the problem. And it said clearance, real great Sosby, North Carolina, 55 miles away. And I called him. I was like, y'all got this item. It was $25. I was like, and I saw it was going for
need
like
it.
46 at the time. I'm like, yo, y'all have this? They was like, oh no, we don't have it. I mean, I've ordered kits from Barnes and Noble, from Kentucky, California. If I see it on Barnes and Noble website, they can ship it to the Barnes and Noble store for free, and you can pick it up.
okay,
So
yeah. Hey, don't give away
when I
all
got
your
into it.
secrets because then you're gonna get
Now we don't
everybody who's
gatekeep
watching.
around
They're
here.
gonna be pulling the same.
Good, absolutely, absolutely, because we don't gatekeep around here. Yep.
No, no,
So go
that's
do it.
awesome. No, that's
Go
such a
to your
fantastic. Like, I love the joy of the hunt. Like, you know, there's
yeah. The thrill of the
that's
hunt
got to
is
be such
what
a
got me
dopamine
into.
hit. Like,
I mean, it's like
Yeah.
it's like a drug for real because it goes. I mean, you looking, you bouncing around from store to store to store, and when you finally hit that store that has that master grade that you've been looking for a while, it's no
Once
better
you think how
feeling.
the backlog gets like that, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. No better feeling.
ooh, what can I find here?
so then tell me about like kind of the origin of, you know, so you guys hooked up as content creators first, and then where did the idea of the podcast kind of come out of, and what was the motivation behind that? Was it, you know, more about sharing knowledge? Was it about kind of sharing the community that you've built for yourselves? You know, I'm interested to hear like what the I don't want to say what the goal is, but, you know, it's like what do you guys get out of it,
Yeah,
right? Aside from
yeah.
getting to talk to each other every
CD, you
week,
want to take
like,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, during like the COVID times, like when Coop was still in the force, me and him would just sit there on the phone for hours and just talk about Gundams, anime, and just sit there and build. And we're like, man, like we're having a great time. Like, why can't we do this somewhere else? Like, let's get more people involved. Let's like, cause up here I didn't really know anyone that built Gunpla. Like I've been doing this for half my life, and I just didn't have anyone to talk to it about. Like we wanted to bring this type of content to more people that look like us. You know, three black guys building Gundams. You don't really see that too often. So we were like, hey, like let's get together and let's bring this content to people that not necessarily like look like us, but that build. That's what the best thing about the community is. If you walk past each other on the street, you wouldn't know that I build Gundam, but we can sit here and have this like-minded discussion about stuff we both love. So that's where it started with. Where I think it started, just bringing more people into the community.
yeah, I love that. So then, yeah. So I mean, that's kind of something that I, you know, Adam and I had the same sort of thing where it was like we didn't find a kind of community locally or even online. There's obviously like lots of different pop-ups of like, there's a Gunpla Facebook group, that kind of thing, and never really fit in anywhere. So it was like, well, let's just kind
Right.
of create our own space and see what happens out of it. But I think that, yeah, like you said, what you've done is you've kind of, you know, you've but by putting yourself out there, you kind of like make it okay for other people to say like, yeah, I am into this.
Right.
Yeah, and
and
especially
to
since
give you
like,
guys. Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
No, go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead. Oh, I
Well,
was
I
gonna
was
say,
gonna say to
especially.
give you guys. That's the internet for you. Guests, go first, please. I talked too
I
much
was,
anyway, although I haven't yet. But yeah.
I was gonna say, especially since like you get to us and you see that Gundam is really focused, but when you talk to us about other things, other topics, sports, even sometimes we,
Oh,
we
yeah.
sometimes can get in here, and being the resident Arizona Cardinal fan, I'm usually the last one to say much of anything. So so
Yeah.
it's nice being there every day.
Uh,
Please, Gunpla, explain.
Well, no, I was gonna say because yeah, it's really interesting. I love hearing origin stories about certain things, and especially like what compels you to make content and stuff. Because for me, and it almost goes to this question about is it too late to get into Gunpla? Because I didn't really discover Gunpla until about 2019, 2020, or Gundam in general. I had played back on the Dreamcast that Side Story
Oh
0079
man.
game, and I always
Mhm.
called it, "Hey, Story 0079 is awesome." I didn't even know it was like Gundam or anything, and then I was at GameStop with my youngest to buy a model kit to build, and it was that full armor real grade unicorn. And while that was super advanced, I was like blown away. And that kind of started it. And I was like, man, this stuff is fun. But I never heard of Gundam. No one around me knows Gundam. So I'll just make content online. And then that's how, yeah, meet Steven. And then, yeah, I've seen all these other people. So I like that thing about like, yeah, you could walk across the street, pass people across the street, and not even realize that like they're into these cool niche
Right.
hobbies. That's a really good point.
Yeah. And one
Exactly. I
thing that
mean,
I think everyone kind of, regardless of whether we've interacted or not, like one thing about kind of all Gunpla guys and scale modelers in general is it's like even if you seem like the most unapproachable person, like, man, that guy looks so mean. It's like if you just ask him like, "Hey, what's your favorite Gundam series?" Like sit back and
Conversation's rolling now.
Let's say
yeah. I
SD
mean,
Heroes. I'm like, oh, we can't talk. Never
Never mind.
and that's what we wanted to do. Like we wanted to, like CD said, branch the community. You don't see a lot of like again African American guys who. I mean, you could come up to me and oh, you like basketball, you like stereotypical stuff, which is understandable, right? But once I start talking, oh, I like Gundams, and you show them a picture of the RX, oh, Transformer. Never mind. We'll talk about it later, right? Like, so I mean, sitting down and talking with these guys, and like that's what caught me, to be honest with you, with Austen. I mean, somebody like Austen knew the lore front and back. I mean, somebody that built AOZ before I even knew what AOZ was. So I was like, we have to assemble a crew that can talk the talk and also walk the walk, and that's one reason we added Austen to the group, because I could talk Gundam all day, but then it's levels, right? Just like this
Right.
song says, it's levels. And Austin, when he comes to talk on different levels of Gundam, it's the historian.
But
You
like you
have to
could
have
talk
that
Wing,
historian.
right? Like
Yeah.
if it was about
Yes.
Wing, you could cover that. So,
Mhm.
okay, yeah. See that I think we all have our things. Yeah, like
oh yeah.
actually for Steven and I, like we both really like Zeta. Like
Yeah.
we just happen to share that. Like Zeta is like our favorite series,
Like you
and
said,
the
in
Zeta Gundam is one of our
parlance
top favorites.
of the Gen Zs, that's I stan it. I'm whatever. That's the Kino. Oh, I can't do any of this stuff. Like I'm
Mm.
40
It's
years old.
understandable. That's understandable. Zeta is amazing. Zeta is
Yeah,
awesome. I've been trying to get these two to watch it. I know Cooper's almost through it.
Come on,
CD,
cool.
it's on YouTube
we'll
right
get you
now.
there.
It's on YouTube right.
Yeah,
Hey,
I seen it was remastered right on YouTube. So
Yeah, so that and let me debunk that for people because a lot of people think that means that it's the like new translation movies. It's the Blu-ray copies that came out a few years
Yeah,
ago.
that's it.
So it's
Yeah.
remastered, but it's not the edited stuff.
The new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not about to get Zeta Origins, so you ain't getting that animation, buddy.
I mean, I would be interested to see it because I'm a big Yasuhiko guy. Like, I love his artwork, and I
Mhm.
like the Origin manga. We can talk about where we're at with the anime, but
I enjoy the anime. These guys up here, we had actually a conversation about this a few episodes ago. The Origins to me, top five, top tier when it comes to Gundam animation.
Still got our
So it
yeah,
was
favorites. I
actually
had
great.
Unicorn. So
Oh,
Unicorn, yeah,
unicorn.
Unicorn.
it
Okay, so
I'm
was
so
amazing.
then Austin, where are you at?
I'm the oh god. Seed is still my favorite.
Okay, okay. No, you know what? It's funny, and so, like you said, you don't realize like you said how many African American guys are like into Gundam and into Gunpla building, and even like one of my mods, one of my like longtime friends and supporters, Ultronomus,
Mm,
African American dude,
Promise.
and he's the Seed guy on the Discord server. Like, he's the one that represents Seed on everything. So when someone has a question like, oh, did Lacus really say this? I just said it to trigger y'all, but but he's the
that's
one
Austin.
that has the answer. So it's like, so like you said, I don't want you guys to feel like you have this like burden on your shoulders, but it's kind of like an awesome responsibility to be out there and to, like I said, make people feel okay to say like, yeah, I like Japanese robots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
say it loud and proud for people in the back.
yeah.
We screaming.
That's what we stand on. We stand on it
Yeah.
a lot when it comes to just being yourself. And I mean, that's one reason why we've been rocking for 107 weeks. We got people on this team like Austin. We can rock, we can talk, and he could go into a completely different tangent. But that's what we want. That's
Yeah.
why we keep. That's why we keep CD. Keep myself. You go. Not It's not Ace Hardware. It's not Ace Hardware. Austin is Ace what? It's not Ace Hardware though. I'll tell you that. That's what's coming to my mind.
Ace
I
Combat.
remember Ace Combat.
Ace
Yes,
Combat.
it's
There we
Ace
go. Ace
Combat.
Combat.
It's all good.
Sorry.
It's all good. No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I will say though, Ace Combat it is the running joke. One day, and now that you guys are here, we will get everybody here on an Ace Combat stream. Everyone's gonna play it. Everyone has to now.
Oh,
It's
oh,
destiny.
you're talking about the game, Ace Combat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, good
Oh
game.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, hey, do you have 3 hours or in 7 days to talk about it? All right. So
you can
in the
learn a lot.
beginning, there was the Big
So,
Bang, right? So then after that,
See, it's okay. So that brings up a very interesting topic, because like Adam and I go into this all the time, like what would make like the ideal Gundam video game, and so something like Ace Combat actually kind of,
Yeah,
I could
it,
see it working
it's
in a
down that
certain way.
line. Yeah, having the
Um,
sim, but like the space combat, because that's kind of what Gundam has. That's really cool. Piloting the mobile suit. The thing about being a pilot kind of goes with the Ace Combat stuff for
if
sure.
uh, real quick suggestion, then, if you guys are not aware, there's the series Macross, also in America known as Robotech.
oh yeah.
There is a PlayStation 2 video game called Robotech Battle Cry. Battle Cry. Yes, yes.
Austin
Thank you.
losing it right now.
Yeah.
That was, in my opinion, the perfect. If
Oh.
this was a Gundam, if this was a Delta Plus or a Zeta, we're done.
Yeah.
You don't need to make
You
any
just
more,
made
guys. The
Austin's year.
formula's been solved.
Pretty much. And so it's so funny, like year after year, when all these new Gundam games come out, and like, inevitably, I don't want to say that it's like I'm happy that they flop, but like, for something like Gun Evo, where it's like, okay, you took Overwatch and then you put Gundam skins on it, or like, or like now you've got the Requiem for Vengeance Fortnite tie-in. It's like, just do what you were doing on the PlayStation 2. Do what Robotech did on the PlayStation 2, and
Yeah, even that new VR game they came out with. It was
Mhm.
fun. I enjoyed it, but there wasn't any like piloting a mobile suit. It was just all VR gimmicks, and it was
Turning
fun.
your
I
head like
enjoyed
this.
it, but I thought the obvious thing would be VR piloting a mobile suit. But
Yeah, you're supposed to be in a cockpit. Like, I was ready to
yeah,
go crazy, but no.
It was like a little scene in there when I was at the Richmond game. I'm drawing a
Uh,
blank. It is
Gundam Race.
the Gundam base. I did
Yeah.
it at the Gundam
Oh,
base, and it
yeah.
was
So it was still up when you
they
were
were
there.
a little bit. Yeah, I went Friday. I was second in line for Friday.
Got you. Yeah. So like when I was there Saturday, it was done. Like it was
Mm,
the VR set was down, so it was like I couldn't
Wow.
even get in on it. But yeah, as
gotcha.
Gunpla builders, like, what did you guys think of Gundam Breaker 4 now that it's been out for a month? Are you guys playing it or no?
No, I don't play it. And when it comes to a
Interesting.
Gundam game, I'm playing um Gundam Maxi Boost, and I was versus. I was big on those two games, but that was also leading more towards the toy photography side because I could take Wing Zero, fight, pause it, and see a pose, and then I get
Yeah.
the kit, put it in that pose, and do the toy
Oh, that's a
photography.
good idea.
So yeah, with Gundam Breaker, I don't, I don't think anybody do on this pod. To be honest with you, we don't do um kit bashes. I don't kit bash in the kit, so that doesn't interest me. So kit bashing
There you go.
on a video game just doesn't
I've seen a
interest
lot
me.
of cool looking stuff, but yeah, same. I don't
Yeah, and
stand it
even
right off the box.
I'm a huge gamer. I I like Gundam. I played it. It's fun. It's enjoyable, but it's like when I spend time playing a game, playing a Gundam game, it's
Yeah,
not gonna be that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's,
Yep,
So yeah, I mean it's
understand.
funny
there you
because
go.
like, what, a week or two ago I did like a whole stream of nothing but me ranting about Bandai marketing, and I was like, who is this
oh, yeah.
game for? Because like the only person I know that's playing Gundam Breaker 4 is Adam. Well, and Zeonic Shadow from Zeeg, New York. He's big into it, but
Mm.
like, most of the people that I know aren't into it. So I'm like,
Yeah. If someone's not into Gundam, you can't really talk them into it.
yeah,
It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, and I noticed too that like when it comes to gaming and Gundam, I think sometimes the Gunpla takes over because it's taken away from time from building.
mm-hmm,
Because I mean, they kind of give you a little bit of everything too. Like if you don't want a fighting game, you can get Maxi Boost, go get Versus, right?
yeah,
You want kind of like your Gunpla Kit Bash game, you get Gundam Breaker. I mean, they gave you battle operations
Oh yeah.
about as close to a normal video game for free, and people still, it wasn't like a big thing you would think it would be. I played, they gave
Right.
us Code Fairy with a little bit of a story, and
Yeah,
what
that didn't
that
sell
wasn't
well.
big. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that Gunpla just people that build it, they don't like. I'd rather stick to the
In the
RPG
time.
style games and then spend my time playing. That 3 hours could have went to a master grade.
that's
There
true.
is one game they made that is pretty much a Gundam game. And thankfully to the mods, it turns it into it. It's Armor Core 6. Literally, there's a mod that you can apply the Destiny Gundam, the Freedom Gundam, and it looks fantastic, plays well. I mean, that's the blueprint right there. But once again, Bandai is saying there's got to be a way we can sell kits off this. There's got to be a way.
Yeah,
And I don't think Armor Core, even though Kotobukiya does make kits off Armor Core,
Yeah.
yeah,
and,
it's
and
Bandai
From
probably said they
Software did
sell
make a
one.
Gundam game on PS3, so like they
Yep.
have the
Yeah.
experience of doing that. So it's like but I think that was kind of like in the dark times of like the mid 2010s when like we here in the West didn't get like anything Gundam for a while.
Yeah. And I played it for a bit. It's cool looking. It has cool stuff, but it's not a fully featured game. It's not like what you would want. I mean, even when I was talking about that side story game on Dreamcast, like that was badass. They just need to take that concept and just modernize it. But where is it?
Just give me subtitles so that I know what the mission is, because sometimes I'm sitting there and it's like, all right, I shot down 6 mobile suits, and then they're telling me I lost. Like, what was I supposed
Yeah,
to
Oh
do?
what
yeah.
am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Uh,
oh, go ahead.
Real quick, I want to hear y'all's two backstory. I know y'all. We gave the origins, so y'all. It's time for
Oh,
y'all to get the origins.
okay.
Well, yeah, I'll just go real quick. It was kind of like what I was talking about, where it's like I didn't know Gundam, and honestly, kind of what we're talking
Oh
about. Like
yeah,
I would almost avoid anime because it was kind of a cringe thing, even though I think that was wrong of me to think. But it was just kind of in high school. So I
understandable.
never, even though I knew about Toonami, I never really watched it or anything. And even by that time, I was pretty much graduating high school. But yeah, again, I saw this model kit of the full armor unicorn, and I was like, dude, this is a badass design. So I bought it, and building it, I was like, man, these real grades are insane. And so I was like, okay, I need to buy the one that has the white little V fin on, even though I didn't know it was called a V fin. And then I think I got the Origin Master Grade RX 782, and I was like, okay, I'm in. So then
Right.
and this
That's
was
the one to get you hooked.
2019. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna start watching it all. So I started with the original. Well, actually, I first watched Unicorn because it was available to watch, and I'm like, what is going on? What is this? So then I went back, started with the first, and then just went in order. And so that's another thing I say, like, if you're just getting into it, go in order because it kind of helps build that context. And I was like, man, this is amazing storytelling, badass like mechs that because I've always loved mechs. I think it started with Aliens and the Power Loader that Ripley was in, and I think that's where that started. So yeah, Gundam had everything. I was like, man, I can't believe I missed this whole time. But hey, better late than never.
Yeah,
Yep.
Glad you're here.
absolutely. Welcome
Welcome.
aboard.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And again, similar introduction as with you guys is like, I was doing my thing just streaming by myself at the time, and one of Adam's subscribers got in the chat and was like, "Hey, can I put Adam Blue's Discord link in your chat?" And I was like, "I don't know who that is, so like I'm gonna need to like do some research first." And I was like, "Oh,
I gotta
Gundam
vet him
you
real
Explained.
never
quick.
Like I
know.
didn't know there was a Gundam Explained. Like I knew Star Wars Explained, but like Gundam Explained, I was like, okay, yeah, let's sync up and do some content together." And that was kind of how we got started doing. And I think we are at, man, what's our streak between Gundam Explained and this show Wednesdays and
I
Thursdays
know
is
every
like
Wednesday and
2 years.
Thursday. I know I'm on 172 for Gundam Explained, and yours is you've done it longer anyway. So
Yeah.
that's every Wednesday and Thursday. It's
Congrats,
been
Way to
crazy.
fellas.
keep it strong, keep it consistent.
There
But yeah,
you
so
go.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, when I was in middle school, same thing, it was like caught the Toonami promos, and then the thing that embarrassed me was, those old commercials that was like, Gundam model kit level 5, 1 hour, Gundam model kit level
Yeah.
3, 4 hours, and I'm like, well, I still can't build that fast, and now I'm like, wait, I don't want to build that fast, like I would ruin it if I did that. Um, but yeah, so then through high school, I kind of fell out of love with Gundam. I guess I just kind of like didn't see, like had other interests. I was playing guitar, I
Yeah,
was
priority.
chasing girls, all that good stuff. And
Yep.
then when I got to college, I started playing Gundam versus Zeta Gundam on PS2. Still to this day my favorite Gundam video game, and I've logged 22 to 2400 hours. I guess 2200 hours was before I hooked it up to my PC, and now it's probably at 2400 hours over the course of like what 10-15 years. But so fell in love with Zeta Gundam through that game, just because playing through the Universal Century mode. And then I dug up all my old model kits from when I was a kid, and I was like, man, these look terrible, there's nub marks all over them. And so I started kind of going back and repairing all these no grades, and then started building my collection again. And what really kind of started the content creation journey was that I was playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons with guys from my soccer team, and I was like, I bet that this could work for Gundam. I started doing research on like, has anybody else done Gundam role playing games and things like that. And there were a couple out there, but I didn't see anything that really like made you feel like a Gundam pilot. It was a lot of like, BattleTech and Warhammer type stuff that was like miniatures on a tabletop. And so I was like, well, I'm going to just make a YouTube channel about how I'm creating a role-playing game out of Gundam. And it basically has kind of morphed into this, the core message of my channel is like empowering, inspiring, and educating people on like how to engage with your hobbies, whether it's gaming, whether it's Gunpla. um you know like I said earlier, I recently became a dad, and so it was like changing the way that I build model
Congratulations.
kits so that I can still be a good father, but like take time to do my hobbies
Yeah.
and things like that. And so so hopefully that kind of encourages people like, hey, it's possible. You don't have to like change your life entirely. Like you can
Don't have to give
still
it up.
do the things that you like to do. And so that again, that's really what spoke to me about what you guys are doing, because it's it's a similar message where it's like you're putting yourselves out there, not as like a look how cool we are type thing. It's like you're putting yourselves out there as an example of, hey, anybody can do this, anybody can get into this. And I guess that's kind of goes to the core question of the day around this. Like, is it too late to get into Gunpla? Whether it's your age. I mean, Adam and I met when we were in our mid-30s, and it's like a couple of old dads trying to get back into anime. Like, it's a little weird.
Yeah, 41. Sometimes I reflect like my younger self would be proud, That's so I think that's cool.
Right.
Yeah,
But then yeah, I
for
mean,
real. That's
even just
dope.
go ahead.
No, I said that was dope. That's dope.
Yeah, but so that's I'm glad that you asked that because so honestly, we rarely even get to talk about like our own we rarely get to reintroduce ourselves to people that have been following us for a while. So
That's dope. Yeah.
Oh,
Um, Me and Coop both dads too, so we both definitely understand that, trying to balance hobby, family, kid time. I'm the youngest of the group, but like I said, I've been in love with anime for all these years, and like I had a Cowboy Bebop tattoo, and like for the
ah,
longest time, I was like kind of like closet nerd, super into sports. No one really knew about it, but
yeah,
once I had my daughter, I was like, be free. So now she's gonna be 9, and we watch anime together, and she asks
oh,
me
that's cool.
questions.
yep. Shame goes out the window. Like when you become a parent, like you don't have time to
Yeah.
have an
You
ego
don't care?
anymore. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
cool.
honestly,
That's true.
what I love telling people is I love telling people this story where it's like, when I started building Gunpla again and really getting into customizing them, like I was terrified of doing anything that was like too crazy. And so like instead of messing with LEDs, I would always do like little neon fluorescent paints. And I'm like, hey, look, you can get like a light effect without having to actually use lights. But then, when my daughter was born, it's like, okay, now I don't have time to like bust out the airbrush and have like all my supplies ready and stuff like that. But ironically, what I can do is I can actually do soldering. I can play with electronics at my desk, and
Right.
she's like taking a nap. So it's like, I can do that stuff, and so it's like having her has pushed me to push myself into things that I was uncomfortable with before. That now I'm like, it's really not that hard.
I love it.
Yeah. That's what we
Yeah.
talk about. Just keep pushing yourselves and use whatever. I mean, like CD said, him and I are both girl dads, and we don't have the luxury sometimes as time, right? Like, so it's like I got 15 minutes. Soccer starts at 6 o'clock. It's 5:25. Let me just go ahead and prime the legs real quick. Run outside, prime the legs, and go. Right? We talk about it all the time, man. It's like a running joke for the last 2.5 years. Man, I wish we had the time. We live vicariously through Austen. I mean, he can run through kits like water. I mean, we're like, man, thank you, Austen,
He sit at the
because
desk till his legs
we'll
go
sit
numb.
back. Exactly. And then we're like, man, I just want 10, 15 minutes today. And that's it. That's what I did prior to coming on the stream. I was like, look, I got some time from 7 to 8. Let me see what I can do. And then it's almost like Dragon Ball Z reference, hyperbolic time chamber. We got an hour to push ourselves to the max so we could better ourselves, because we don't have a lot of time to
Yeah,
sit back and run with some of these guys that you see on Instagram. Like, man, I know that some of them probably don't have time as well, but we always looked of getting better. So the time we have to perfect it. We only have a little bit of it. So we definitely understand, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
because it's like having a full-time job probably, and then the hobby itself,
Mhm.
and then the content creation part.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's like so much. But I think, yeah, there's something about having kids that kind of, I think, pushed me even more, because I think before having kids, my content creation was pretty lame. I've always been into video games and would always blog about it, but I never really went all out. And maybe part of it was what you guys were talking about, where like after you have kids, like that, there's that shame that just goes away, like that you kind of
Yeah.
don't care. But I don't know.
I
Austin
feel you.
seems pretty awesome, and that it doesn't seem to affect him. So
Just think, this is me at not even at full strength. Once I have
yeah,
a kid,
yeah.
Yeah, he's got Omni
That's
Man.
cool.
He's sitting here looking at us like, look at what
Yeah.
they have to do to match.
I'm like Rock Lee, like the weights are still on. I just have to.
Damn. It's not even my final form.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
right.
But
Be like
but
Mikazuki and IBO looking for like, oh, you want to have a baby? Right at the end of IBO,
Right.
like, oh, you want one too?
but
well, and so
it's funny
it's
you guys are talking about fatherhood and how it's really pushed you guys deeper. And while you guys are saying that, I was thinking about my dad, because my dad is the biggest nerd ever.
Oh, that's
He
cool.
was a Yeah, he's a math guy. He's a Star Trek guy to the nines. So
Oh, I
growing
love it.
up, I watched Star Wars all on VHS. For those who are young and don't know what that is, it is a plastic box that has film in it. Uh, there, I watched all of Star Trek, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine.
That's cool.
What was the other one? All of them, essentially, all of them.
Voyager.
so yeah, you come by
Voyager. Thank
honestly.
you, Voyager.
Yeah.
Hey, Janeway,
That's all I know.
she's the goat.
Yeah, she
But
was
anyway,
cool.
yeah, she was good. She made some hard decisions, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would grew up as kind of just an outgoing nerd. I took manga
cool.
to school with me. Would take out and read it. My dad would encourage. My mother, actually, I had a slight reading disability growing up, so one of the only things that I could read was stuff with pictures. So my father had a whole bunch of comic books. My uncle has a whole bunch of comic books, and they have years and years of collecting. So I would be sitting there with just free comic books going on for
Oh, that's
days,
awesome.
and then they found out I like reading manga, so my mother took me, and she would take me to the bookstore, buy manga, and then and just keep buying manga. And then there was a Gundam Wing manga called G Unit, which was cool. And there was,
Yeah.
that's how my nerdum was kind of a symptom of me just being the only thing I can consume that I enjoyed. So eventually, when I got up to high school and I was in football and all that stuff like that, I would still be talking about manga, and all the guys would be like, "Yes, okay, Austin, yes, we get it. Please tackle, please." Like, oh, sorry. Yeah, and I think back to it, I was like, my father, he really made me kind of just happy to be a nerd. Like, I never even thought it was a negative for the longest time. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
and it's great to see all you guys with your little ones, gonna pretty much teach them, hey, this is me. I hope you like me,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure they will. I'm pretty sure they all will.
Yeah.
And they'll be happy to be nerds too.
Oh yeah, and it's interesting how it is. I think it's kind of more open and accepting now, because even my daughter and my youngest has watched anime when I wouldn't have, but it's just kind of like a passing thing. Oh, this is just a show to watch. And then video games too are a lot more accepting than they were when I was like in school, when video games first came out. Like more like the Sega Genesis era. Like people weren't, it was like, oh, Adam's the game guy. Like if you have a question about a video game, go to Adam. But
Right, it's
yeah,
like that
and
Todd
I
Howard
think
interview.
what's that?
It's like that Todd Howard interview where like all the kids are saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna play for the Dallas Cowboys," and he's like, "I'm gonna make video games."
Oh,
Well, who's laughing now?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny.
Especially if you're playing for the Cowboys, we can all laugh right now. Womp womp.
Not me. I'm a Giants fan.
Oh, you are? I'm
Oh,
so
no.
sorry.
Our
No.
division is just who is the least worst every year.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, Steve and I barely talk sports because I don't pay attention to sports at all. So
I think with me, what kind of got me out of that nerdum of like being worried, I stopped giving a damn. Right, it got to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna. I was collecting comics. I wasn't reading manga. I got big into the MCU when it started rolling out, and when the MCU rolled out, I went to the comic book store, and I realized like how quick you could get a backlog of comics, and I would go during my lunch break. Yeah, so I would go during my lunch break, and I'm like, I'm sitting at work. I have this bag full of comics with me. I have to read them, or I'm not going to read them. I'm not going to get a chance to read them. So I just stopped caring. Like I just picked up a comic, and if somebody walked by, see me reading Avengers, all different Avengers, then they just see me reading all new, all different Avengers. It's costing way too much money letting these 10, 15 comics every Wednesday just stack up. And I'm like, just because I want to take them home and hide. So I just stopped. I was like, to hell with it. Even when I was on the force at the police department, I was just telling these guys the other day, it was like one hurricane that came by, or we were supposed to get hit with a hurricane. They're like, look, we're gonna get hit with a hurricane. We're asking y'all to stay at the PD for the next 3 days. Just go home, grab your stuff. We'll run 12-hour shifts. You can stay at the police department. You can stay at the fire department. Just stay in town. So I was like, all right. I came, had the RG Targis 3. I had like 2 other wing kits with me, and it is like while the other guys over there talking AR-15s and body cam videos, I'm building my kit. Like I don't
That's
never let
cool.
it change. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, being able to combine work with Gunpla, that's so hard to do. Like
Yeah.
I do work from home that kind of makes it easy. Like between meetings, I'll put on the 100 water slide decals that it'll probably take me another few days to finish. Otherwise, I wouldn't get that done.
Well, and that's got to be
Yeah,
hard
I
when
work from
you
home too, so I build a lot at the
yeah.
desk.
So we
That's
we
Probably
have
when I
the
shouldn't be
joy of
building, but
having our hobbies around our desk, which kind of
Yeah.
is embarrassing
yeah,
for me whenever I have to take a work call and it's like, oh, yeah. don't, I'm gonna just blur the
right.
background real quick, but
Blur the background.
Hey, this is
um,
right behind me during my calls. They're like, "What's? Oh, let
That's
me just
cool.
dodge real quick."
Yeah, if I saw that on a work call with a client, I'd be like, okay, we have something else to talk about.
right, yeah.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, dude, it's got to be hard. Like, so when you were in LEO, like, so building was almost kind of like therapeutic for you. Having come off that, one of my really good friends had a similar situation where he was a law enforcement officer here in Richmond, and same sort of thing. Like something happened that he was suffering from PTSD for a while, and he's since kind of retired from the force and found a job that like is really fulfilling for him. But in the same way, like he kind of got engulfed in his hobbies and found some peace and solitude in that. So I'm really glad to hear that. And same with you, Austin. Like the way that manga and comic book reading was like a way to handle you know like a learning disability that was like just having difficulty reading. Like it's fascinating to me how these hobbies have a way of being therapeutic for whatever we're suffering through, whether it's something emotional, whether it's something just a deep-seated trauma. And I just think that that's fantastic, and I think that more people need to hear stories like that kind of make it seem like, oh, there are other people like me out there, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, it's a it's a great thing when you find a great strength that can help you with some weakness that you're having. But also, it's greater when you have multiple people with this other strengths and other weaknesses coming together and kind of just bonding together to make an even bigger and more beautiful thing, especially as a group. So yeah, man,
Oh
that's
yeah.
definitely yeah,
I've learned
definitely.
that a lot by being in content creation, by meeting people and talking to people and realizing getting that feedback, or hearing what it's like, it helps make my stuff even better. But then also sharing my stories can help people, inspire them or whatever. So yeah, it is cool. And I've come to that realization too. Like Steve and I were talking about, like it's always best when you're working with people. Like even I look at like George Lucas, who was like, oh, amazing creator of Star Wars, but he had people always helping him. Maybe he had a vision, but it was that team effort. John Williams with the music,
Ralph
whoever's
McQuarrie
editing
with
it.
the art and like
Yeah,
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 yeah.
Hmm.
I dig it.
Yeah, and
Oh,
you're good.
sorry. Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, and one of the great things about meeting people, because I wasn't on social media. I tell people this all the time. Cooper was actually the guy who brought me in. When he was even doing the podcast, he was like, "Oh, you got to start an Instagram," and I was like, "What?" To start an Instagram, Austin. And I was like, "Okay," and you have to have this, and I was like, "Okay, hey, when people like my stuff, do I hit this?" And he's like, "Oh my God, yes, Austin." so, but getting to meet all these fantastic people through social media has been an absolute blast. And you're right. Getting feedback and talking to people, especially about your work, kind of helps propel you. Of course, getting what is it, like gratification that you did a good job is always nice, with anything that you do. But hearing just hearing other people's stories, stuff like that, kind of makes you feel good that you're part of this bigger, broader community. Once again, I'm new to social media, so this is wild. There's a
I
lot of
think it might
people
be
on
a
it. Did you
year.
guys know
Yeah,
that?
there's a lot.
One, two, there's like
Most
a
of them you don't need to
handful.
hear from.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, true. But I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
well,
CD.
I think he might just have hit a year too on Instagram.
Oh, have I? Oh
Wow.
yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Look at
started pretty
that.
late on. You started pretty late on Instagram. Even like I think it was like episode like 8, 9 in. You didn't. Yeah, it was a while before you got
It
Wow.
Instagram.
was.
Man, you
It
guys,
was.
That's pretty remarkable.
how
That's
how
probably
is
a
it
good
that
thing.
all of the dads are in here and we're like,
Oh yeah.
clearly
Yeah,
we're doing a
exactly.
lot of
He's a
like
unique
rocking
one.
kids to sleep and playing on our
Right.
phones. You've got like
Exactly.
fun things to do. No, but it's yeah, no, like you said, it's really cool, meeting other people and talking to them, and like, I'm finding out more and more that so many of the builders and painters and things that I admire, that I look up to, is like they've been doing this like since COVID. And it's like I've been doing this for 13 years, and they completely blow me out of the water. And so, like you were saying, Coop, where it's like we kind of have to make up for lost time. It feels like a lot of people in Gunpla are like making up for lost time, like just the rapid
Wait.
improvement, and the abilities that people are showing is fantastic. I love it. It's like I said, it's humbling for
Yeah,
me, but at the same time, it's great, and that's kind of why I encourage more people to like share, and more people to get on social media, and not in like a toxic way, and like, start bashing people, but when you can sit there and compare, like, wow, this is what I did last year and this is what I'm doing this year, like, that's incredible. Like, and sometimes you don't see it unless it's
absolutely.
documented somewhere. So it's like, even if
Right.
you're just
Yeah.
sharing it for yourself, man,
Yeah.
there's
So
something
worth it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point because even with like, I'm not hopefully not try to steal his thunder, but Austin, a lot of people, if you mean the big fans of the pod that have been rocking with us since the beginning, they know that Austin just got an airbrush not that long ago, and Austin went from rattle canning to airbrushing. So I mean, that was something to sit back, and I'm glad that we was able to document it with the podcast. And CD, he's
Oh
really
yeah.
good at it. He'll go back and grab some clips and send us into the pod. He was like, "Oh man, I remember on episode 9, 45 minutes into it, we talked about this," and he was like, "Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, I forgot about that." Well, even just going back and just seeing the progression. And one of the things that one of our mottos, and like I said earlier, I mean, even if you go to the Richmond store and talk to Nick Models, shout out to him. He knows that our motto is iron sharpens iron. We know that we take any form of criticism because we will grow from it. It's
Right.
not really the criticism part that people that needs to understand. They need to understand your mindset. If somebody tells me, "Oh, your build was trash," there's something I need to learn from that. So you could tell me whatever you want to tell me, right? What I have to process it, and that process of processing it is what we all enjoy. We all enjoy the process. That's why with us, we're not gonna stir away from any type of like harsh criticism, bad criticism when it comes to toy photography, the podcast, our builds, our painting, whatever the case may be, because we know that we can stand resolute to what we believe in when it comes to we're gonna grow and move forward. We're not gonna move backward, no matter what anybody says about anything we do.
Absolutely, man, that's
Yeah.
really well said. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, I find that, you guys are your own worst critics anyway. So it's like, if somebody says like, "Oh, your build's trash," it's funny. You automatically know what they're looking at. That you're like, "Damn, he's right."
That's
Like,
the nub marks. I
you
know.
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
it's crazy, yeah, because I follow like all of like the Japanese and Korean builders that are like fantastic. And if you pinch zoom in on some of those pictures of the kits
Oh
that they've
yeah.
got, it's like, oh, I see where the paint's chipped there, and like they tilted the wave rider so that you can't really see it, but like it's there. And
Mhm.
Yeah, that
so,
was a big revelation for me when I really took the time to zoom and be like, well, I make those same little mistakes, but I guess
yeah,
when you see the whole thing, when it's done and presented, you're not really focusing on that. Or, as the viewer, you're like, oh, that's a cool model kit. And so that kind of helped me feel a little more better, I guess, about
mm-hmm,
Mhm.
not
yeah.
being
Mhm.
perfect. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no
Mhm.
such thing as like perfect. It's just like how well you can hide your mistakes, right? Like, we all make them, and so
Mhm.
it would be dishonest if we were sitting here saying like, "Oh no, like it's all my builds are exactly how I envisioned them. Like, I never had to fix anything about them." It's like, no, it's I definitely have like the warts and all kind of appeal, and like you said, it's like you got to take criticism, even if it's unfair. Like yeah, I wonder if that kind of comes from you were an athlete. I know that like I got yelled at a lot, and so I was constantly telling people that were coaching me like, no, don't stop yelling at me. Like if I'm doing something wrong, you need to correct me, and so like I need to listen.
Yeah.
Whether like I don't need you to be nice about it because I need to fix that behavior, right? So it's like same thing goes to modeling. I used to, man, back in the Tumblr days, there was that account that was just like your Gunpla sucks. And they shut down because like people were kind of like, oh, this is like a toxic account, like they just take pictures of people's Gunpla online and point out what's wrong with it. And I was like, I don't, yeah, I guess it could be construed as like cyberbullying or something like that, but like they never named names, like they never pointed out whose kit it was. You would only recognize it if like you knew who it was or if it was your build. But like I always found it helpful because it's like, well, shoot, I never want to do that with my kids, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes the
and you
other
know
set
what?
of eyes too is helpful. Like,
Yeah.
I seen the pictures of these guys. I
Exactly.
thought it's perfect build, and like Coop might notice something, and Austin might notice something different that I didn't see. Oh, like, yeah, you just need another set of eyes on it.
And it
Exactly. I
certainly.
mean, CD just took it out. Go ahead, Austin.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, and certainly for criticism that's helpful because there's a difference between criticism of just saying, "Man, that looks terrible," and "Hey, that looks bad because you really messed
Yeah.
up on the scratch marks here." That type of criticism is golden because they're cutting right through the meat and going straight to where what needs to be done better. I'm sorry, Cooper, go ahead.
No, and CD hit it right on the point. I mean, just having these guys here as a crew, and one thing, I sent a picture of CD. One of the first things, if I'm telling you, it's going to be the first thing he says to me is, "What do you think?" Right, and I know that he doesn't want to hear the positive. Right, he doesn't want to hear, "Oh, I think it's great." Like, I think I could do a little bit more. Yeah, I think you could do X, Y, and Z. And we said it before. Like when it comes to our builds, I know you said you try to strive for that perfection though. Even though we know if we might not obtain it, right? But we strive for it, especially here, because we have this mantra of you cut enough corners, right? You're gonna be running laps around yourself because that's what happens. You have a square and you cut those corners enough, you're gonna make a circle and you be running laps and you'll be gone nowhere because you didn't cut this corner, you didn't cut that corner. Let me hide this nub, let me weather this piece. After a while, you're just on a hamster wheel. So we definitely try to chase it. But one thing we do too, we know one of the things that we say is if for the people that do give criticism, you have to know your audience too, right? Like it's not if you I never dunked a basketball in my life. I'm not going to tell Michael Jordan how to dunk a basketball, right? Like if you're out there giving me tips, right? Like, oh, I think you should do X, Y, and Z, and you've never done the things I've done with a kid, it's going to be hard for me to listen to you, to be honest with you, because like I cannot tell Michael Jordan how to dunk a basketball when he done dunked the basketball about 50,000 times. I nothing I could tell Michael Jordan.
No.
You know,
I never had any criticism toward these two when they were airbrushing. When I was a rattle cam boy, I didn't say it. I said it looks great. That you made
Right
that. That's
down.
cool.
But no, you know what? That's a
Perfect
sign of
match.
like of a true friend is when they are honest with you and they're like, you know what? No, this isn't good enough. Like I know you can do better. And that's what it comes from. Is it's like if someone's telling you that it's already good as is, then they're basically saying to you like, no, I don't think you can do any better. Like that's how low they think of you. So like I love criticism for that reason. But of course, like you said, there's criticism in good faith and criticism in bad faith. I had someone comment on a video like, yo, this song sucks and the Gunpla is probably bad too. And I was like, so you didn't even see
Ruthless.
Yeah. He
YouTube
crashed out
comment.
quick, didn't he?
Yeah. Jeez.
Jeez.
So I guess I need to pick my music better, but
He went off the Gunpla off the music too. He said, "Yeah, the song
The
sucks and
music's
I bet the
trash.
Gunpla is bad." God, dog.
And
Jeez,
you know
that's
what? I bet your
a
car is ugly
double.
too.
Yeah.
And I bet you can't cook.
Yeah, he went for a double on one comment. He went to second base, didn't he? He said, "I was waiting for the fences."
oh, he's
Oh
probably
man.
right. But no,
Nah, man, you good.
You good, brother? He was having a bad Tuesday.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's a good way to
probably.
put it.
But yeah,
Oh,
so
Lord.
But do y'all?
oh, go ahead.
So I know that earlier you said the GBWC is like, have y'all done any competitions? Y'all have anything in y'all area that makes you want to go and see
Not in my area.
GBWC in your Adam area? Mm.
Yeah,
Where are
yeah,
you,
so
Adam?
I mean, I'm definitely gonna
I'm
check
in
out the
the
GBWC here in Richmond. My first competition was the local model contest at the Hobby Town in Richmond, and that's where I met Nick and Mean Mug and kind of like the local RVA Gunpla crew. I didn't know that there was a local builders group, and so yeah, and so poor Nick, I felt bad. He was like, "Man, I'm not doing my fucking job then," and I was like, "I mean, no."
yeah, I'm in
I
the
try to tell Nick
Dallas.
to slow down sometimes.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, my
I'm in
fault,
like the
Adam. Go
Dallas
ahead.
Fort Worth area, and
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything. I've gone to like the hobby towns around and tried to talk to people, but I mean, if I would think there'd be something big area. We got the
Yeah.
airport, we got tons of different cultures around. I'm keeping my eye out.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
have
y'all
figured
got
there
to
would be
come
a
down to the
ton.
Plomo event then.
Yeah.
That's where y'all
Yeah,
got to go
yeah,
to.
Where's
The
that at?
big
yeah.
Plomo event. That's in
Birmingham.
Birmingham,
Oh,
Alabama. That's about to be the who. That's about to be the who's who when it comes to Gundam competition.
Really?
It's about to. George that won GBWC last year for America, caught third place there.
Wow.
I mean, it's um it's it's the who's who.
You want to
It
talk
is like
Gundam,
first class
Gunpla?
stuff.
Yeah. That's
See,
Vulcan
I'm
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
Hobbies
that,
is
it's
that
just,
wouldn't be far.
one of our sponsors. He puts it on, but
yeah.
it's top tier, and which is nice. We all actually got to meet each other in person. We all flew down there and got to hang out with each other after podcasting for almost 2 years. So
hmm
it
yeah,
was
that
pretty
was
What
sick.
a time to be alive then.
absolutely. I'm glad that you guys have gotten some FaceTime in person too, because that was. I mean, Adam and I only just met in person last year, so that was like
Yeah, which is cool to do. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we met up in North Carolina. I was kind of like doing a thing of meet up with some family, but also the Galaxy Con was
Hmm.
then. But and I didn't even end up
Oh,
going.
yeah.
It was just a bunch of us from the server just kind of hung out, which was cool. We went to like a hobby store there. Yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty fun.
Oh man, well, how far was that? Because I went to now this was a long COVID, the Galaxy Con and Rally in
That's the one
Where
in
was?
2021, 2021, and then that's when I went.
yeah. So
Ah,
Jason, the Green Ranger was there. I think that was his last
R.I.P.
time
man.
being there.
man,
Yeah,
I
that was the
missed
first
meeting
and
him.
last time. That was
Wow,
the first. I was like, that was the only reason I traveled down there. I said, I'm going. The White
wow,
Ranger's the last. I have Mighty Morphin comic. I mean, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has a comic book Boom under Boom Studios, which is a high profile comic book right now. Like it's a
yeah,
big deal. I mean, they have branches and branches, and I have Book Zero, and Book Zero is obviously before Book One, but Book Zero, each comic book has the Rangers holding the helmets. So I had
yeah.
all five. So I had the original
Wow,
five helmets, and you have to hunt for these. Like it was like the
wow,
Green Ranger was one out of every 50 books. So if your comic book store only ordered 15 books, you're not getting it. The Red Ranger was like one out of every 25 books. Like, and it
wow.
was, so I was hunting for them. So I was able to hunt for all the book zeros and, also gifted. And from that point on, my mission, because I was a big Power Rangers fan. I know earlier y'all talked about what got y'all into Power Rangers for me.
Right.
The
Zords,
Megazords what got
Yeah,
absolutely.
me into
That's
it.
Megazord.
it.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I
Yep,
was growing up, I was a big Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan, and
that's cool.
Guilty.
I went and my goal was to my goal was to meet the original as much as I can. And Jason David Frank was that last one in Rally. And I was like, I'm on my
Wow,
way.
that
So I
is
was
so
able
cool
to
that you
meet
got to do that.
Jason, Zach, Billy, Kimberly, and Tommy.
Wow,
Man. So
that
yeah,
is awesome.
the OG
Ah.
five.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's
What
supposed
did
to
y'all
drop any time now. There's that Legend of the White Dragon movie. It was the last movie
Yeah.
he filmed, kind of like an indie film,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be dropping soon. I keep checking all the time. Excited to see that.
Yeah, it was he was promoting that. He was able to give my daughter one of like an autograph poster. It was so dope because we stood in line. My daughter and I, we was like second in line to see him, and he was, he talked to us for a little bit. You know, we got the autograph, and he was like just giving us some more stuff, autographing more stuff. So it was pretty good because growing up, when she was growing up, I kind of forced her to be a fan. So she was watching like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from like year
We do a
1
little
to
bit
like
of
year
that.
5. So
Yep.
right. So we were able to go down there and she was able to see, and she was like, "Oh, that's the White Ranger, that's the White Ranger, that's the White Ranger." And she was like 5 at the time. "That's the White Ranger, Daddy. That's the White Ranger." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the White Ranger." And I was geek too, so
That's
right there with
awesome.
her.
Man, that is so awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a hard one when he passed away, because like he was such a genuine
Yeah.
dude
Mhm.
that, like, loved the fans, loved the franchise. Shoot, the same store that I bought my first Gunpla at, and I can tell you it was at the Fair Oaks Mall in Northern Virginia. There was that store, Another Universe. It was like an anime and sci-fi shop, and they had like predator. They had like a life-size predator in one window and a life-size xenomorph in the other window. And behind the xenomorph's head, there was the Endless Waltz, Ultron Gundam, and the Endless Waltz Death Scythe Hell. And I remember buying that like off the shelf up there in that same store. I thought I was getting like a Saba, like the White Ranger sword. Turns out I was getting the Japanese version, so it spoke in Japanese whenever I would push the
Oh,
button. I did never
that's cool.
understood that
So
because it
this is
wasn't until later that I learned.
Oh,
that's
wow.
us. Yeah, so he was able to sign like a whole lot of stuff, and it was just a fun time down there. It's a fun
Oh,
time.
I bet. Yeah,
So I
GalaxyCon's pretty good.
do the GalaxyCon. Ironically, you say that, Adam, because I just think yesterday I was sitting on the couch and I pulled up the tickets because it popped up on Facebook talking about get your 25% off now.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was like March, because there's one in Richmond, and I'm like, let me look at it. Let me look, because I go almost every year. I didn't go this past year because for the first time it finally sold out in Richmond. I remember when GalaxyCon was small, and it'd be like
Yeah.
you could walk up and get your ticket same day.
It's
And
blown
then
up.
I was like, oh, yeah, so I'm just sitting back, like, let me go ahead and order my ticket day of, thinking it's like every year sold out. Everything is sold out. And I looked at the ticket prices went up for the 3 days. It used to be $50 for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now it's $80, man. I'm like, oh no, I don't know
Can't believe
about this
that.
one.
Yeah.
Well,
Jeez.
so
$80.
that's the dream, is for us to be able to like host the podcast from a con.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Galaxy
Mm-hmm.
Con would be
Yep.
awesome, but yeah, I mean even just some of the like local conventions would be cool. Do you
Yeah.
guys have do
I
you
mean,
envision that for Undergated?
Well, that's what we did. We was talking about like, you know what? When we get down to Alabama, we're gonna have a Plamo event. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna do it live. We talked to the sponsor, Vulcan Hobby. Shout out to him. And he was like, "Yeah, I got you what you need. I got you that cutout space over in the corner. If you need to sit back, because it wasn't like a shed. This is when I say it was top tier. We was at I think he rented out a museum, and it was almost like we were the only people in the museum there for this event. I don't know where it was top tier stuff. I mean, DJ, everything you could be and have. And one of the things that we talked about was we're going to go ahead and do the podcast from live at the event. And it didn't pan out because we wanted to be immersed. We wanted to be in the
Yeah.
moment. That we didn't have like a lot of like, even when I told Sheeta, I was like, man, I ain't grab a lot of footage. And he was like, man, we was in the moment. This is maybe next
Yeah.
year, but right now,
We got to bring a crew.
Yeah, that's
just
hard.
be in
Like
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
shoot, that's what Adam and I have been talking about. Is like, man, we need a hire producer because then we won't start 30 minutes late.
Yeah, I know.
We'll have like a somebody that can run the stream for us. So yeah, that's what y'all need, especially for the live events. That's awesome though. Like I can't believe that you were able to pull that off. Like, but yeah, no. To your point, like I don't think you should be documenting that stuff. Like let other people do that. Like you need to be present and
Yeah.
engaged.
Yeah.
There's a big thing about being present. Yeah. No.
Especially talking to all the people there, meeting new people.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy thing when you take away when you just meet all the people, and then it's strange when we were like, oh, you're part of the Undergated, right? And I was like, someone recognized me. Someone recognized me. Guys, a real person. Look at this. Everyone come and look at this guy.
Say it
What
again.
up?
Say it again. You're from the Undergated, ain't you?
You're from the
Yeah.
Undergated. Yeah, that's the catchphrase.
Like
No,
I said, yo, you guys have some fantastic fans, and so yeah, I appreciate them for putting me onto you as well. So
real quick, you
I
said
wish I
Fair
would have
Oaks
known.
Mall. Oh, sorry, real quick, you said Fair Oaks Mall. You part of the Northern VA, my
oh
guy?
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, my guy. Yeah.
Awesome,
All right,
lighten
cool.
up.
Sorry. Chantilly, Ashburn
Oh,
area. Yeah,
got you. Yeah.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
we
Tyson's
both
corner.
moved down south and just didn't go back, right?
Oh, yeah, because we
No.
can afford to live down here.
No.
Yeah,
That's
that's why. I didn't feel like paying
Don't let Austen
3,200 for
fool
an
you though.
apartment.
Don't let Austen fool you, because Austen would turn around and be like, "What do you know?" He'll go up to Northern Virginia like he's going to McDonald's. Like, "Hey, what you doing today?" "I'm about to go drive up to see my brother." "Hold on, dog. That's a 3-hour trip. You don't just turn around like you just I'm just off the whim." And he'd be like, "Oh, I'm going up there. I got a doctor's appointment." A doctor's appointment in
He
Northern Virginia?
He called me one time and I was coming back, and when he called me, I was already turning around going back the same day. He was like, "What? Wait, what?" It was like, "Yeah, why? I forgot something."
That's great.
And he was
I don't justify that 95 drive for nothing. Like, I think it was probably
Man.
like months before I met my nephew because I was like, no, I'm not.
Bro,
Not
you
going.
have to just let the traffic and the horribleness invoke you. You're just like, I'm just gonna open the windows. I'm gonna hear people screaming. I'm just gonna let it in.
See,
It's
now I
Northern
have something to
Virginia.
listen to on the way up. I don't feel, you know.
The Undergated podcast.
That's true.
We got
Wednesdays at
107
3.
episodes for you. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, yeah.
So let me ask y'all.
Oh no, go
Oh,
ahead. Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
Okay, what I was gonna say was let me ask y'all. So when it comes to like kits, are y'all? I know y'all big Zeta fans, but like, you think your backlog is mainly UC, or is it like
Oh,
is there things that y'all touch? Like with mine, like I'm convinced at this point my backlog has shrink. I sent the picture to CD about my backlog. He was like, "Yeah, shrink. Yeah, right." But I'm telling myself I'm not touching any of my wing kits anymore. I'm like, at this point, they're collector pieces. I'm about to try to find some shrink wrap and just seal them all up. I'm going to go after the animated Toggies real great that's dropping this week. Yeah, I'm going to go after that just because it's I have all the other Toggies real great, but when there's so my backlog has shrink dramatically because I've convinced myself I'm not doing I'm not doing a Gundam wing anymore.
well,
Yeah.
so I'm glad that you mentioned the drop. I news to anybody who hasn't been paying attention. P Bandai is dropping all of the kits that were available during the Gundam base tour, which was cool because like by the time I got there, like I told you, everything was sold out. I know Gunpla Razi went in on Gundam base tour. He was like, this, I don't want to do anything, like Bandai's the worst. So like no, I'm glad that they kind of recognized like, okay, we didn't bring enough kits for all of the people that were going to be at these events. We need to make it up to them. I wish that they would have that same attitude around the card game that sold out twice.
Oh,
But
Mm.
but yeah, so this week starts the first drop of the Gundam base tour kits. But yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think that my backlog is almost all UC except for like maybe like 2 Witch from Mercury kits. And these days it's like I only ever buy P Bandai stuff, and then I spend most of my time like this is one of those no grade Mercurius that I'm like, okay, this is something I built when I was 13 years old. The legs a little janky there.
Ah.
I'm gonna see if I can like give this guy a little
Takeover.
upscale and
Upscale.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my backlog is mainly UC. I have like I think I found a Exia real grade like on clearance and I bought it. Haven't cracked it open yet. And then even I'll have a plan of what to get to next, and then I'll be given something and I'll be like, "Oh, I want to build that." Or a new one will come out. It's like, "Oh, I've been wanting to build that." And so yeah, but it's mainly UC. Yeah.
Now,
Gotcha.
what's your
Quick
guys'
question
favorite
then.
kits in
Okay.
your collection?
Oh man.
Ooh, that's a
You know,
toughie.
the Grail kits. You didn't talk about the Grail kits.
Yeah.
Austin, you got a Grail kit in your collection. Come on, man.
I'm about to say,
You know,
it
it ain't
what am
no
I talking
toughie.
about? What am I talking about?
Yeah.
This was a tough question. I'm looking at it. It's literally
Yeah.
on top of my bookshelf right now. It's the Master Grade Faz Verka. For
Ooh.
those who don't know, the Faz Verka is essentially the full armor double Zeta Gundam with the largest gun I've ever seen on a mecha. And it's from Gundam Sentinel, and it
That
is
is a good choice.
yes, I cannot wait to build it. I'm still waiting for my skills to be to the tier I
Oh,
want it to
yeah.
be.
Good idea.
But yeah, but I have a whole Sentinel collection ready to go, and I'm gonna do like a Summer of Sentinel or something like that, and just
Dang,
put
that
them all.
is
have some branding around that.
that
I'm the
is
same way,
good.
dude. I've got my perfect grade Zeta and I've got that high grade Dendrobium Orcus. Both of them are sitting in my garage, and I'm like, I cannot touch these until I stop being such a fuck up.
Yeah, once you mess that up, it's over. You're not
Yeah.
gonna go spend another $200 for a part. Can't do it.
But yeah, what about you, CD?
Can't do it.
I think.
Oh, or Coop?
Oh yeah, go ahead,
Uh,
CD.
my Grail kit is a Rosen Zulu Episode 7 clear kit from Unicorn movie. So
Oh,
I love Xeon suits, sleeve suits. So like, remember you talking about you like the Freets. That's like one of my favorite suits ever.
Yeah.
But most of my collection is I like a lot of seed kits. I don't have too many UC kits unless it's like a Ifrit or a Zaku or something, or maybe like a GM. Everything else is mostly seed. But yeah, that Rosen Zulu is I'm waiting for the resin kit to be re-released so I can that and
oh,
try.
that's cool.
I love it.
Awesome.
Mine, if I had to say, it's going to be the master grade Sinaju OVA, and I have the Tanaka Studios conversion kit for it. So it gives you like the different propellant tanks.
Yeah.
Went all out, got all gold, the water slides, all gold, um, tubings, and then so it's like 1A, 1B. One day it's that like that's my grail, and then I look and realize like I still have the real grade Sazabi resin upgrade kit for the real grade Sazabi, the Mad Works.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
just waiting. So that 2019 coupe is still in that time capsule. Like we almost there, buddy.
Hold on,
We're
buddy.
almost there. It's almost like right. It's almost like War Machine and Iron Man 1
Yeah.
when he looked at the silver suit and he was like, one day, baby.
Yeah.
One day. And like that's how I feel when I look at my backlog. Like one day we'll get there.
And then suddenly Rhodey looks very different.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
like 7 inches shorter and
Yeah.
Darker.
You're like, who?
A whole nother coupe then logged in streaming all that. Like replace me. I mean, that's one reason. That's one reason too. I tell people why I love Gundam so much. Right, like I said earlier, I'm a big MCU fan, and all the connections and tie-ins, and you got to watch this movie to get that. I mean, we just talked about it on this episode today, just Gundam lore, and then you let Austin go into a 10-15 minute rant about AOZ, you're gonna go back and go, man, I gotta watch this, I gotta watch that, that's okay, they introduced that person there. Okay, gotcha. Okay. And I'm like mind blown.
Right.
Like
And you're
what
not even
I'm
talking about the
always
kits yet,
telling these
too.
yeah,
You didn't
right,
get to all the
exactly. I always
Hazels
tell
and
these guys, I always tell these guys like, man, what's if when Armoro's fighting Char here, what's lateral, what's parallel? Is Shiro on the ground fighting in 8th MS team? Like, I wish we could have like
that's cool
NFL
stuff.
Red Zone. Like, I want to watch
cut to
Char's counterattack, and cut to like this is what's happening here in Africa, and it's
I love that
Shiro going
idea.
at it.
that
Like,
That is
I
cool.
would
If there
love
was
it.
something that could be made, it's like a kind of a like a timeline jump where it's like you're seeing one battle and then it jumps. Meanwhile, and then you see something that could
Yeah,
be from like one of the video games, like Blue Destiny or something. Like, yeah, that's a really cool idea.
exactly.
that's where like some of the
Yeah.
debates
That's what
start, because like I get so mad at some of the stuff around like the Zeta Gundam, and they're like, oh no, Anaheim had this Project Zeta thing, they were building it long before Camille, and I was like, no, Camille literally says in the show, this is the Zeta Gundam, I'm thinking of calling it the Zeta Gundam, and Astanash is like, yeah.
Oh,
He
you
said
said
it
a
right
fact.
in the little like in the bedroom. Like he was in the bedroom looking down at the paperwork when he said it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly know what I'm talking about. It's just like you said, if it was like streamlined like that, I know that there's a lot of people that do on the MCU side, they'll time up like in this corner you have when Thanos snaps, and in this corner you have the scene in Ant-Man, and in this corner you have and as soon as he snaps, you see what happens in Ant-Man. You see
Oh,
what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's just like all that is going on. And people are just like, obviously, you're looking at it linear, but if you just think about it, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I mean, you just think about it with your eyes open. Like, what is Ant-Man doing when Thanos snaps? Oh, he is in the he just got done fighting in Ant-Man 2. Like my girl and I will watch Easter eggs. I mean, countless hours of Easter eggs on YouTube of every Marvel, everything. We'll just sit there. New rock stars. If y'all haven't heard of them, check them out. They'll break
Yeah.
down 45 minutes. Agatha all along. I mean, just watching those Easter eggs and watching how everything ties in, and then you apply that to Gundam. Like, oh, this is Gundam Origins, and this is why. And one big thing I tell people to get them into Gundam is if you like Star Wars, you're gonna like Gundam because
Oh
it's
yeah.
almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Gundam Origins is nothing but just episode 1, 2, and 3
1,
for
2,
Star
yeah.
Wars. Yeah, I mean, come
I
on, like
consider it
what else
like
do you need?
a more mature Star Wars. It's like you can like grow if you grow out of Star Wars. Gundam is kind of like that more next step. It's a little more mature. It
Right?
actually dives into things. You were talking about PTSD. I think they even show characters go through that because of the horrors of what's going on. Where
Yeah,
Luke just blows up the Death Star, and then he's happy he just killed millions of people.
Right.
It's like, but
Tons of public
Camille
sector workers,
or
like
yeah,
a
Amro just kills a
psychopath.
couple people, and he's all like, "Oh my god, I'm killing people." It's a lot. There's more depth to that, and
Yeah,
yeah, that's right on.
exactly. When I tell people a Jedi, or you like Jedi, that's nothing but a new type in this.
Yeah,
And you have a few pilots, like that's it. Like, and it starts off just like 1979 Gundam, episodes 4, 5, and 6. I mean, it's almost the same thing.
and
You
you
get
even
3
get
movies out of Gundam, you get 3 movies out of Star Wars. What else do you
exactly.
need,
Yeah,
man?
yeah,
what else do you need? And it's like you get the same type of stuff, like almost like how Rogue One helped explain like how A New Hope happened. You get the
Exactly.
same sort of thing in Gundam where it's like, man, there was like a nuclear attack in 0083 that set up what happens in Zeta, where it's like, okay, you see how the rippling effects that happen.
Hmm. Absolutely. I will. I'll sit back and watch and listen to the lore all day. That's why we try to what we try to do for Austin. We ain't gonna spoil it for everybody, but we're gonna be working on some stuff where Austin just talks about some lore, and he just, I mean,
awesome.
and it's, yeah, I mean,
Huge lore
waiting. He
I'm
fan.
gets
in.
into AOZ.
Hell
Yeah, if you
yeah.
get into once he gets into AOZ, you're gonna be
Gotta be
like,
ready to buy 8
I missed out
hazels.
on this master grade.
Yeah.
I missed out on that
I need
master
that.
grade. Austin, where do I need it? Where can I find this master grade?
Oh,
You're gonna
don't
be
They
like,
go over
oh
can't
the
yeah.
see it,
master
but
grades.
back here I have a bunch of Advanced of Zeta
The
kits in
AOZ
my
stack.
shelf back
Oh,
here. The lights are
Oh,
off, but like I have a couple hazels. I got like the metal, not metal, robot spirits, metal. I forget what they called it.
hmm.
Hazel, wound wart, all that stuff. I love that line. Yeah.
I see. So you and I can definitely be friends.
Yeah,
It's almost
exactly. There
like
you go. AOZ setting it
it's
up.
almost like Joker off of Dark Knight. I was waiting, and here we go. So
No.
yeah, I mean, I was going. Here goes Austin. He's about to run through AOZ right now. He done said Hazel. And that's it. It's like an attack
gonna put
dog.
gonna gonna put the face mask on and like, welcome to the first episode of AUZ. I hope you're all ready. Like, who is this Austin? Is he all right? But a quick question for y'all though, real quick. Your favorite grade to build? I'm kind of the master grade guy here. I know Coop and CD are more HG slash RG guys. What are your guys' favorite build build type?
Yeah,
You-
I I think real grade, even though I do like some master grades, it's just real grade is the first one I built, that unicorn full armor, and I just love how it's almost like you're building a robot. That's
Mhm.
kind of like
Mhm.
where I come from with that. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, I've come to really appreciate real grades. I love the scale of 1 to 144, and one of the things that I would say is that there's a different purpose for each of them, right? Like I just finished building the real grade Gundam 2.0, and if you're gonna build a kit and take it out of the box and you want it to just look good, like with just a little bit of panel lining and some water slides, real grade's the way to go. But if you are gonna do some painting, especially if you're gonna be doing electronics work and stuff like that, then high grades and the RE100 line are awesome because they have nice hollow parts that you can run wires through and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm one of those guys that it's like I don't I don't typically do like the open hatch displays anyway. So I'm like, you're never gonna see all those details underneath anyway. So I'm like, well,
Gotcha. Super cool.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm more of the MG guy. I just like the scale of it. I can hold it, and it just feels just nice in a
It's got
larger
weight to
size,
it.
and it's got
Giant
weight
action
to it.
figure. That's how I see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and like
crazy.
on the shelf, it kind of pulls your presence toward it, especially when you get to those really big master grades like the Deep Striker and whatnot. I mean, that's just a statement piece. No matter what you do, anybody comes over, right? Anybody comes over, they immediately ask, "What is that? And why is it on the kitchen counter?"
Oh no, honey, serve dinner
Yeah.
around the.
Yeah.
Nah,
It technically
the
it's a
centerpiece.
deli slicer when you think about it.
To the eye of the beholder. With
Right.
me, I'm a big 144 guy. I'm big into, like I said, the toy photography and diorama building. It's just easier and it makes more sense for me to be more hooked to the 144. But I'm trying to dabble into some master grades. I got one, and also some lighting. I want to dabble into some LEDs and lighting them up too. So shout out to the homie Pencil Knight on Instagram. He's a big help, great in putting lights into your kit. So
Yeah.
get in there.
What do you think, CD?
Yeah, I'm a 144th guy as well. With my builds, I like to try to push the high grade as far as I can to a real grade without having to do the extra
Oh
work. So
yeah.
if you look at my stuff, I do a lot of scribing, plot plate. I love to paint, so everything. I think personally, I think all my color schemes look better than the original kits. That's why I don't keep anything the same. So I just paint everything I can with different colors. So yeah, 144 for sure. It's weird because my hands are so big. You would think it'd be tough to hold the pieces, but I try to make it work.
Hey,
That's
that's what
cool.
those little vices are for. I got to get my hands on one of those. But you brought up a good point. It's yeah, you go. It's yeah, that's if it's good enough for jewelers, it's good enough for us. But you brought up a good point. Like when you're scribing fresh panel lines and something, it's nice to have like kind of a blank slate to work with instead of like real
Yep,
grades tend to have so many panel lines already in them that like what are you gonna scribe into them? Like maybe the occasional
exactly.
like little rivet.
Yeah.
It's a little line in there, but you have to push it way more because with a real grade, it's kind of already there for you to like just put it all together. But with a high grade, you kind of get to have your own vision, and you can take it as far or as little as you want with that.
Some free expression, and I dig that.
Exactly. I had a question for you
Okay.
guys too.
Yeah.
For someone who's getting into content creation and social media, what's a piece of advice you'd give someone that's starting out in this kind of space?
Oh man,
I
that's
think about that stuff a lot, and I try to help as many people as I can. So if you ever have questions, reach out to me. But I think the best thing is just m- every time you have to do it, just make something, even if you don't plan to share it.
mm,
Like just get used to it. Because I remember when I was first, especially doing live streams, I would always be like so nervous before, or when I'd make a video, I'd think too much. But after a while, it was almost like, all right, let's do this. Turn on the camera, hit record. Hey guys, blah 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 blah. And then it's just, but that just came from time. Yeah, I couldn't do it right out of the gate. And I think that's with a lot of things, like even Gunpla. And so yeah, I think if you just keep doing it, and then over time, you'll kind of perfect that in terms of like maybe honing in on what you find from yourself that you like that you're doing or a style, and then you'll like iterate on it and automatically. But yeah, if you're not doing it, even if you're not posting it, if you're not doing it, you're never gonna like figure that out. So yeah, because I was doing it where I record a video every Sunday, or yeah, every wait Saturday. 3 videos, a live stream and 2 videos. Then on my other channel, I live stream every Monday through Friday. And just doing it over and over and over, it's like, okay, I got this down. And because then the confidence just kind of shows up out of nowhere. And then you're like, oh, I can do anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's not so much like fake it till you make it. It's just like make it till you make it.
make
Like
it until you make it.
you keep
Yeah.
doing it.
Getting
Like
comfortable.
I think
Yeah, getting
there's a
comfortable.
quote where it's like no amount of self affirmation that you do in the mirror is going to make you not an imposter. It's just like your body of work, your body of evidence is going to make you not an imposter. Like if you do the things that you say you
Yeah.
do, you're not going to have imposter syndrome around it. But yeah, for people starting out in content creation, especially video, the biggest thing is I would say think audio first because most people will forgive poor video if your audio sounds clean. And then I'm going to echo a sentiment of a friend of ours, Kyle, Free Speech Geek slash Simply New Type on YouTube. He does some fantastic like lore videos for Gundam. He once said to us like pick a niche that is uniquely you, because like one of the things around like geekdom and fandoms and stuff is that everyone tries to be too broad. Like, oh, I like comic books, I like Star Wars, I like Firefly, I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I like all of these different things, and so my content is going to be all of these things. And it's like you're never going to be able to do all of those things really well. So pick one thing, and if you can, even get more granular. So like if you're going to like Gundam, only talk about manga, or if you're going to talk about like Star Wars, only talk about the comic books, or only talk about the novels, something like that. Like get real granular with it, and then what you'll find is that people will gravitate towards your content like crazy. I mean, the growth that I saw was because I was in specifically the Gundam role playing game space, which no one else was in.
There we go.
Very
Yeah,
true.
and that makes sense too because I noticed a lot of content creators they start off sometimes a little bit broader, but they do eventually get to that one thing that they make. Where I forgot the name of it, but a guy who he literally started off with loving everything, but now he just talks about comic books, but specifically DC, like and specifically Batman,
Mm,
and now he is
Yeah,
the Batman guy, right?
That's
So
cool.
and and every time I think of people who start too broad, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Red Letter Media, but
oh
they
yeah,
always have the joke, the Nerd Crew, and
yeah,
yeah,
I just remember their background is just
yeah.
everything.
I love it. I love
exactly.
that. It makes me think about. I've thought about that when I was making my content, because even for my channel, it's broad Gundam. Oh, and my video game stuff does way better than when I review a Robot Spirits. But I love Robot Spirits.
Yeah,
The action figures. So I'm
My
just gonna do it
guy.
anyway. So I just will do it anyway and let it percolate over time or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah.
mm-hmm.
And then too, I think what you have to do for doing YouTube before and working on this page and with these guys now is also just be consistent. You have
Yeah,
to. We know that we're not going to turn. It's not going to be 5,000 views every video. We know. We just know that our goal is to make sure the content is out.
yeah,
So have a small goal. I mean, obviously you want to set like landmarks, right? But just saying, hey, I could get a video out each week, one video out each week for X amount of weeks. I could get 5 videos out in this week and stay committed to that. If you're going to do five, do five. So really being consistent is what we're trying to. That's one thing that we're trying to hone in on and making sure of that too.
yeah,
And
Good
from
absolutely.
point.
our
Yeah, your
experience,
goal. Good idea.
mhm, and from our experience, it helps out the algorithm too. If you just always have people tuning in at the same exact time, it throws it on their feed a lot quicker,
Yeah.
which we found out. So yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Sure.
absolutely. That's we had that same kind of conversation where we used to try and work around each other's schedules, and it was like, well, we'd get like a huge spike in viewers here and then like none here. And yeah, I mean, if you
Yeah.
have a dedicated time and space where people can expect you, then people know to tune in then. So
Yeah.
it makes a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah,
difference.
and that's the thing, and that's the thing too. Like when having that small goal we have, just making sure that we just make it something gets out there. We don't look at anything else. I mean, obviously we're not stupid. We're not going to look. We're still going to look at the analytics,
Yeah.
but we always going to keep the main thing, right? Like our main thing is making sure people have something to do and watch, and that's why we're big on mental health. Like every episode we start off with the greetings, right? If you watch 107 episodes each week, we start off with greetings, and what greetings is anything other than Gunpla. It's how's your day going? How's work, Gundam? How's life going? So it gives me an opportunity and gives us an opportunity to know, okay, Austin he's being like this might not be Austin's episode today, and then that's when I step in, or shit, it might not be my episode today because I might have had a bad day at work, or like I've been just be real with it and transparent because I've been transparent this whole time. I've We typically record on the weekends, and on May 5th on Cinco de Mayo last year, my brother was murdered, and then a day later we coming out and when I'm getting up here and recording because that's how serious it is. So that happened on a Friday night. Sunday we sat down and record. So because we know how I not know how important mental health is. I had to, talk. But me telling them that, right? CD was able to go, oh, I want to talk. We're going to Austin and I, we're going to bounce off this episode. We're gonna be the 1-2 punch, and I could kind of just lay back. So that's why we drop every Wednesday, and we drop at 3 o'clock because it's halfway through your work week, and it gives you something to look forward to. We're not going to drop on Friday. We're not going to drop on Monday, right? We want you
We know
to
you got
be
better things
coming
to
off
do
of
on
a good
Friday.
weekend.
Yeah.
Well, in
Yeah,
general, like
right,
it's
but
not even just that because our thing is when Wednesday comes and you feel that monkey on your back because of the work week and all that, at the end of the day, I have the Undergated to listen to. And that's when
Right.
a
Rain,
lot of
sleet, or
people let
snow.
us know, like, man,
Indicated's ready to go.
rain,
Exactly.
rain, sleet, or snow, we're trained to go. So that's we get a lot of people that let us know, like, hey, I mean, y'all got me through my commute. I got a lot. Like, if you go
Oh
look
yeah.
at their story now, one of the guys, Gucci Gunpla, shout out to him. He even said, "Yo, I got some midweek paperwork I got to get through." And Undergated came out right on time. So that's what we look forward to every Wednesday. That's why we picked our time. We didn't want to do Saturday mornings,
Yeah.
Saturday nights. It's Wednesday to help you get through that hump.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that
Yeah, I
keeps you
like that.
going. Like I love getting those
Yeah,
types of comments. That's just like, hey,
Yeah.
I needed this. Like I needed to just relax and listen to y'all talk for a little
yeah.
bit.
And
Like
then we
I'm
get people
listening to
like
you
people
at
told
work.
us right. And
Yeah.
people tell us all the time, like, y'all should, Fridays is the best day for YouTube or Sunday mornings is the best time for YouTube. And I don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's the thing. We don't care about any of the analytics like that for when it comes. We want to be out there for them, for the people that tune in. The
Yeah.
people that tune in and rely on us is our analytics. I don't
And if
care
you
what
spend
the
your whole time
application says.
algorithm chasing, like you're gonna I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, things are going to come up from time to time where, like, you're not going to be in it. But, like, if you're also doing it, like, with the intent of, oh, I'm trying to, like, make a living off of this, so I need to make sure that I play to all of the little tricks and make sure that I'm using all the platform tools to optimize, you'll optimize the fun and you'll optimize the soul right out of it, you know?
Exactly.
Hmm. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So when y'all do streams, do y'all do like build streams? Like do y'all just Gunpla streams? I know I've
Depends.
listened. What's crazy is I know Gundam explained. I know I listen to his stuff going into work because I got
Oh,
the
cool.
YouTube Premium and I could turn my phone off and I came up across the lore before even before I did the podcast. So I listened to it before.
That's
But like, what's more of the in-depth stuff y'all do?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big variety. Like, so I'm always doing the stream on Thursdays, where it's just general, podcast Gundam chat with Steven. And then, so a lot of times my videos that come out, the other two I do, it's usually random. It might be a review of a game, a show, or a review of a Robot Spirits or Gunpla, or just a random lore video because I'm researching lore and I'm like, oh, let me just talk about this. But sometimes, like on a Saturday, I'll do a, build stream. I did one just recently where I'll build a Gunpla. It's like, oh, I might as well stream this. Yeah, because I got more comfortable with that.
Mhm.
As I was talking about getting that confidence. So I'm like, hey, I might as well just stream since I'm going to build. And yeah, so that's the thing. I am almost going against the algorithm because I'm doing that wide variety, but I'm just trucking along and I'm just gonna make it
Yeah,
work.
Yeah.
that's all that
Authenticity
matters,
is
and that's
more,
all that matters.
is definitely
Right.
more
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean,
keep
for
the
me,
main thing the main thing.
amen. That's so yeah, like the weekday show that I do, same thing as you, where it's like Wednesday, we try to keep that consistent streak, and we'll do everything from talking about like game design in depth to talking about marketing to talking about Gunpla. We'll have other people on. I mean, one of my favorite guests, honestly, that we've had in the past few weeks was Wayne Snow, who is a professional musician out of West Virginia. Like, and he does like kind of like that Midwest emo style, but he like, he's like a geek rocker, and so it was really cool to kind of hear about his creative process and how anime and video games inspire what he does, and then how he's able
Yeah.
to market music using social media and stuff like that. So we do talk about a wide variety of things that hopefully, kind of exploring all these different creative avenues that are methods of self-expression, And like I said, the idea is to get to the heart of like what is going to inspire people and empower them to do their own thing. Now outside of that, I do like tutorial videos on like, random Gunpla things like silicone molding, making your own decals. Right now I'm starting to get into things like using microcontrollers, like these little guys to control your LEDs, to install servo motors and stuff in your Gunpla. So,
Things you don't see and anyone
Right.
else do. That's what's cool about his stuff.
yeah.
It's stuff that I just never see.
Yeah, I
So
mean, like I
Yeah, I
said, I
know. That's
follow a lot of
crazy.
those like Japanese and Korean builders on Twitter that like they'll post their finished product and they're like, "Oh, look at this Pat Labor kit that's like and like lights up," and it's like, but they don't post a tutorial for it. So I'm like, okay, I got to be the one English
yeah,
language guy that's like, here's how they do it. This is a ESP32 microcontroller. Here's how you can link it up to your phone so that you can control your kit and all that stuff. So
that's cool.
That's what we need too.
Crazy.
I'm on. Me and Austin are on X, and we're like always looking at those on Twitter, looking at all these fit models. That like you said, you only see the finish, but you don't see any work in progress. So that's what the community's missing out, and that's dope that you're touching that for us. Because I've always wondered like how does that stuff work. So thank you for doing that.
heck
Yeah.
yeah, man.
And, it's,
Yeah, we
and
need
that's
more
dope,
people.
bringing it. Go ahead,
We
Austin.
need more people explaining stuff because me and CD and Cooper too now we are collecting Hobby Japan magazines. I'm looking at my stack now of like
Right.
50 magazines. I can't read Japanese. So I'm so I'm looking through it, and even though you have some great
The
people
Google Translate
trying
app,
to help
like
you, right? I got the AR
All
translation
the
thing going
time.
down one at a time. But having someone who speaks English on a YouTube video, oh,
makes a
oh.
huge
Like can
difference.
pause and stop, rewind. Yeah, please
Yeah,
continue.
absolutely. And that's what's up about like branching out and bringing a guest. That's I like that. I like seeing like fresh faces and different ideas when it comes bringing in somebody that's, some of the people we came across. Gunpla OG, Gunpla's. Who else? We had a taco builder
Right.
on. Able to sit down and. Pencil Night was able to sit down and talk to Studio G. When he was going through all that stuff, and I think yeah, he's the only we're the only page that was able to sit down and talk with him, get his side of the story. And we enjoy our guests. We look forward to our guests. And hearing that you had a musician on from West Virginia, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and man, Adam and I love. We'll talk to anybody. Like that's. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
and a lot of
Adam's
my
able to pull some amazing guests. Like
well, yeah,
you
because
know,
my mission is to kind of spread the word of Gundam in a way that I don't think it is. Like how popular Star Wars is and kind of faltering now. It's like, guys, Gundam is awesome. So yeah, I got the writer for Requiem for Vengeance on because my whole thing was like, no one's talking
Episode.
about no one's talking about
Yeah.
this. No one, is promoting this. And it's like, yeah, what can I do to kind of promote it more? So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I sent that to our group chat. I was like, "Bro, look at this. He got this.
oh.
He got the right."
That's cool. Yeah. And you can see like I get excited and I start, oh, what about this? Oh, what about this toy? And like that stuff is fun for me because a lot of times I talk about things that aren't typical interview stuff because a lot of times you get into what makes someone excited and that can kind of really help bring out a lot of
Mhm.
natural conversation influences and stuff like that.
and that's why earlier, I said
That's
was
true.
like, look, we've got like two blanket questions that we typically ask our guests, but then from there we're like, let's just let the conversation go because obviously, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing we try to do is make sure we're like, rigid. We have a like this is what we're going to do because after a while we can only talk about 107 weeks. You can only BS or for only a little bit before it start getting kind of like
Yeah,
played out
there
and
needs to
ran.
be
So
structure to it. Yeah,
yes,
it almost helps
exactly.
you in a way. Yeah, that's a good
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't thought
And
about
and
that.
that's the thing. Like when I was listening to Gundam podcast before, it was just like it felt almost like I'm tuning into a conversation at Hobbytown, which is always fun, right? Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
listening to a conversation at Hobbytown. But and I always tell people the blueprint isn't new. What we do, right? The blueprint has been done before. It's just you have to open up your horizons and broaden your what you're looking at. When I listen and go to work, I listen to ESPN radio every day. I listen to NFL Network every day, And every day there's segments. There's,
Mm.
you know, first take segment, Stephen A's list. And I'm like, and so when we started the pod, I'm like, we have to have segments. We
Yeah.
have to have something people can look forward to each and every week and can talk about that segment. We're not going to sit back and talk shop for an hour, 2 hours, because at that point, it doesn't. So that's why we have in the middle of our podcast, we have hold that thought, where we might talk about current events, nothing like too crazy, but we're talking about like, oh, did you hear about the guy who went down to Florida and did something crazy? Or we talked about the news, we talked about sports, we talked about movie reviews, and then we'll get back into Gundam, right? We have a segment called Austen's Real Grade, where Austen, he built so much kits, he'll break down a kit, he'll give you the lore, and he'll let you know how the build was, let you know if there's a master grade. Yep, the real grade and it's Austen's RG. So, and it's we make sure it's structured.
Not to cut you off too much, but just as a funny ado, one of our most popular segments was pickups. But new pickups, and we found out real quick, like, oh well, a lot of people will tune in for this, right?
Yeah.
And then we start realizing, this is a very expensive segment for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to your
Austin had to
accountant,
buy
see if
3
they can
master
write that
grades.
off. That's a business
How about
expense.
yeah, let's make some business decisions here. Maybe draw that segment down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, keep
So
going.
that's one reason why we have that's why one reason why we do it, because we want to be structured. We want to give something that somebody could tune in and be like, oh yeah, I watch your, like, we go from greetings, which is the mental health stuff, because of course it's always, what's the quote, CD? Mental health is what?
Mental wealth. Mental wealth.
There you go. Mental health is mental wealth. We go from greetings, we go to building and breaking down the backlog, which is what new things you got in and what some of the kits you might have pulled out, right? And that segues right into what's cooking, what's some of the things that are work in progress, right? Like I have this kit, I'm working on this kit, I've painted this kit, I took this photo, I'm reading this book. CD tells us he's read how many books since the beginning of the year?
Book 50 since February.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Book 50
Where do you
since,
find
and
the
we're
time?
talking about like
I read.
That's the whole.
Yeah, I read really fast. My dad like put me in the speed reading program,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
so
I
reading
could use
comprehension
that.
reading. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was some wild stuff back in the day, but it's super helpful. So I
Yeah.
just picked up a book. Andy Weir, same guy that did The Martian. He did Hail Mary's another movie coming out, but picked that book up and I was like, oh, I haven't read a book in a while. Finished it in a couple of days, and then let's read some more. So renewed the library card,
Right.
because buying books got expensive real quick.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, we have, then after that we go into what's new, where we kind of talk about some of the new kits that might be coming out. We shout out. We always say it's like the honorary member, but we use the Instagram page of Gunpla Nerd. Like we always just use his Instagram page and just talk about, oh, this is what's coming out. Then we go into hold that thought, right, where we talk about, like, again, stuff that's outside of Gunpla. Then we fell off, but we got to get back to it, which we do Creators Corner, where each week we'll go and we'll shout out a couple of accounts that might not have like the following, but you look at their work and you're like, man, this is some really great work, right? We want to shed the light on those builders that, that really put out the work on Instagram. Like, man, they drop in hundreds and hundreds of pictures for people to see, but they only have 60 followers. Like, for an example, the homie Austen, I remember I was like, yo, who you have for Creators Corner? He was like, I got this one guy, Blakar7, and we looked him up, and he had like, I think 900 followers. And was like, oh, this dude's work is
500,
crazy.
less than 500.
Yeah, it was like 500 when we found him. And then you look at his page now, he has over 80,000 followers. And you're like,
Wow.
God, dog.
Sponsored
And it's like,
by
just seeing that growth.
Yeah.
I mean, he has his own. Yeah, the guy has his own razor from Gun Primer. I mean, seeing that channel on the page grow, and then knowing that, hey, hopefully we helped out. But we do that for like the small content. We're not going to get up here and talk about, oh, I want to give a shout out to Ray Studios build. No, we're not. We'll give it to Studio Ray, but we're not doing it to Ray Studios.
Right. They don't need
and
our
then
help.
Have you guys heard of this guy named Naoki?
right? So, and then after that, we go from to Austin's real great, and then we get into the main meat and potatoes of the pod, and we want to make sure that structure is there each and every week because it's already there. You listen
Yeah,
to any radio channel, they have their segments every day. I
yeah.
mean,
There's a reason
it,
that they do it. Is like it's worked. It's like
Yep.
exactly. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel.
right, exactly right. No, that's good. I'm glad that you commit time to each of those segments. And like, how rigid are you when it comes to like, timing out the segments? Do you say like, all right, 5 minutes, like we're not, or you kind of let it
I
breathe?
mean,
No, we let
depends how
we
much money we
typically it's
spent
always a great
for the
yeah
first one.
that and it somehow segues we have it plotted to where it segues, right? Like we have building and breaking down a backlog, right? Austin might buy a kit. This is the kit I bought today. Austin, that's what's up. And ironically, this is my what's cooking. I've been working on this kit, the kit I just showed you. So all of our talking points segue into something like you do Creators Corner, right? Or that's a dope build, and it might be a kit that Austin might have built, right? Like he might go and find, okay, today I'm talking about the HG or ground type, and he might find an account that has a ground type, and then go from talking about the ground type on that account to Austin, what's your real grade anyway? Well, ironically, it's the ground type is the MG, HG, and we talk about that, and then we'll get right into the meat and potatoes. But we have a good feeling in that chemistry of when I know when Austin's about to wrap it up. I know when CD's about to wrap it up. That's why we all crazy, but um that's why we all our episodes is about an hour 45, 2 hours long, right? Like so, um, we just that great chemistry.
Yeah, you don't find it with everybody. So I'm glad that you guys did find your people. I mean, it's like Adam and I. Like we kind of at first it was just like, hey, we're just gonna be on each other's show one time, and then it was like, hey, this
It
kind
just
of works.
clicked.
Like,
Yeah, it was crazy how much it just worked. Yeah.
You guys have good chemistry
Have
too.
y'all ever thought about? Oh yeah, have y'all thought
Definitely.
about growing? Like, was there ever a point where it was like, oh, let's get four, let's get one more person? Because we've been like that. We're like, we got us three, but it's like we're rocking and rolling. We're a well-oiled machine. Grabbing that fourth
I think that
It's
person
good
would
for
be
might.
the
arguments too. Like there's never a stalemate, so someone got to.
yeah, because sometimes I do think, a third, even a fourth could add more. Because I watch a lot of podcasts that have multiple people, but I think it's just finding that right person, like, yeah, trying to make it natural, try not to force it or anything. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
A lot like
Yeah,
dating.
that's a big thing.
I
Awesome.
think you
What?
guys
Yeah.
have the magic
Well,
number.
I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry, all y'all. Oh
Uh,
man,
yeah.
I'm the out guy. Never mind. Never mind. I gotta go look for a girlfriend.
Yeah, I think three is always good to go.
Yeah.
Because when you have four and it's just hard to get everybody's pinpoints. I mean, in an hour episode, hour and a half episode, if you run it, you're talking about maybe 5, 15 minutes per person if they're going around the room and bouncing stuff off. I think
Yeah.
three was the magic number. And plus you have to find somebody that brings value too. Like like I
We
have
all
something that
bring
Austin
something.
doesn't do. We all in that. And again, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. The strongest shape is a triangle. That's one of the things. One of the reasons why we rock with three,
Yep.
That's
because
cool.
it doesn't get no powerful in a triangle when it comes in a shape form. So we
That's
we
cool.
we we thought about it. We're like, you know what? Maybe a fourth person, maybe a rolling guest, because again, you see those podcasts that might bring on somebody and they might just
Yeah.
have their own segment. So we thought about that. Like
Yeah.
we might just bring in like shout out to Vulcan Hobby, and he might just talk about the business side or the kits that might be coming out. Like let us know, Chris, what kits are coming out. He'll come in, tell us what kits are coming out, because since he owns the business, and then that'll be it. So
Yeah, he knows what like the
we
distribution
thought
will
about
be.
it.
I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
like do it
exactly.
up like the old G4 stuff where it's like, you have like, you know, one guy
G4.
does the movies, Blair Butler does the comic books, like, yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
What a callback.
just
What a callback.
Yeah.
G
Love
four, right?
G4.
He pulled
G4
that one.
TV.
He pulled that
What
one. Yeah.
yo, what a great callback. Uh,
What's some of the kits y'all working on, Adam? What are y'all working on? What's cooking for y'all?
Sanandri Stein here. Just it's
The
I
Verkala
built
too.
it a week ago. It's just those decals, those water slide decals are
Yeah.
taking a while. And
Mm.
once I'm done with that, I'm gonna work on the real grade RX-78 2.0, that newer one.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
What's that
Okay.
grade you give it?
what's that?
What's the grade? What grade do you give it?
What grade I
The
would give the
Stein.
real grade or the Stein?
Yeah,
This
the
one?
Stein.
You know what? This is a Verka, and I've only built 2 other Verkas, but this is far exceeds the other ones. Like, it is actually structurally sound. It doesn't fall apart. So I think if you like this design, this is a 10. I mean, because
So,
it's just
so you could say if you were a betting man, it could be like kid of the year.
oh Lord, here we
well,
go.
well, here's the one thing. It's not my design type. I'm not really into that design because it's not Federation. I don't know what it is. I love the GM Fetty stuff. That's kind of Hazel Mark II. Oh, that's
Yeah,
Titans, but you know what I mean. Like, yeah, Mark II. Like, I
yeah.
have the Robot Spirits Mark II sitting here. I have the GM Spartan
I need to get
sitting there.
that
I
one.
love this kit. So
Yeah.
it's usually my jam. So yeah.
Local
Now, I
Fetty
am
guy.
the
Look at that.
Austin's the Fetty guy. I am the local figures like the Robot Damashi metal
That's
figure.
cool.
I got the metal build of so we got even like right here. Shout out again to Vulcan Hobby, right? We got the metal build
Ooh.
or metal structure of the Exia something. I don't know. It looks cool.
One of the forms.
Yeah, one of the forms of the Exia. And I'm the Robot Spirits guy. I'm actually
Cool.
debating on getting the Zaku 2, and I'm like, it's been at one of my local shops, and I know my local shops run a buy 2 get 1 free figures, and I'm waiting for
Oh.
that sale because they typically have when I go there they have the Robot Damashi Black TriStar, and I'm like, if I could get at least 2 of those, and then the Char for the same price as 2, that's what I'm going
That's
to strike.
great idea. That's cool that you're into that stuff. We'll have to talk more about that
Yeah,
later because I'm big on the Robot
yeah,
Spirits. I have too many.
because again, going back to the toy photography side of it, like I'm not gonna. It's hard for me to paint a kit, give it my all, and then take it into the street and then watch it fall over and then
Yeah.
scrape. But I'm like, so
And that's what I actually
just like I
started
told them,
doing photography before I was building.
mm,
I would do photography with Star Wars figures.
yeah. Oh, I know a lot of good toy photographers that do Star Wars. Sir
Yeah.
Dork, the Muse King is really good.
Black
Cap
Series.
Lives on Instagram is the Black Series. Cap Lives, Geeky Fresh. There's a couple of good toy photographers out there when it comes to Star Wars. But like I said, doing the toy photography, I just don't want to invest a whole lot of time into a painted kit. Like the 2.0 is probably the first kit I'm going to build in a long time, and I'm saying it now that I'm probably just snap build and won't paint because I'm like that's going to be the toy photography side of the RX for me. Like if I want to take a picture of, I have the Robot Damashi one, but I'm like if I want like a detailed shot, maybe of it in a hangar, let me get the 2.0, and I'll just snap that
It's
up and use
it's
that for
good.
the
That
toy photography side.
yeah, the
Yeah.
proportions
cool.
on it, the posability is fantastic.
So was that a no on the kit of the year for the Sinatra Stein? This is just like
Yeah,
a
but
running.
if
A
you
running
like
thing.
the sleeves, if you like the sleeves, it's kit of the year. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I still have some more I got to build. Like even didn't the narrative come out? Also the
Yes,
Verka.
Mhm.
I
yes,
would think I would like that more. So
you are going to.
I need to build
You
that
are going
first.
to. You're going to like that more. You're going to like that more.
Nice.
Definitive.
I
Let
have
me
built it. I enjoyed it very much. But
real quick. Y'all's top 5 mobile suits. Any series,
Ooh.
top 5 mobile suits.
Ooh, I
Well,
mean, do you want to take it, Adam, or do you?
I'll take it. I would say like RX-78 2, that's kind of boring, I know, but like Mark II, yeah, kind of Hazel. Maybe even the GM Spartan. Um, and then maybe the double Zeta over the Zeta, even though I like the Zeta a lot. The double Zeta I think really combines classic
Enhanced.
Gundam and Zeta. What's up?
You do the double Zeta enhanced.
No, just double Zeta,
The
plain.
Just the
This
regular
is why I
Double
kick
Zeta.
him off the
Yeah.
show from time to time, as he disrespects the Zeta like that.
Encore. Encore. Well done.
So we got the Mark II, Hazel, Spartan, Double Zeta. You got one more.
Oh, the RX-78 too.
Classic.
You know, just the
The
classic.
RX-78.
Yeah. Yeah.
All Federation mobile suits, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, all
Yeah,
Federation.
that's
Teddy's a
really
fetish.
Shoot.
that's really what got
The
me into
cor-
Gundam. I
Oh.
say, like, yeah, but getting the unicorn. Yeah, even the unicorn I would say is up there, but that's like more on the magical side. Even though that's cool, it's just I like the kind of standard military weapons that are like
Boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The correct list. All right, next.
So yeah, I mean, number one for me is Zeta Gundam, Zaku 2 F2, the Ifrit Nacht, the
Let's go free.
the Totus Ritter, and
Ooh.
Okay.
I would say Gundam Mark II. Yeah,
Okay.
Another all
Nice.
UC.
yeah.
Nice.
We're
Nice.
UC
That's a nice list,
grognards
though.
over here. Like we're
We are.
You know, and I'll
Okay.
say this about Mono Eyes. I'm usually not a fan of Mono Eyes, but the Toads Ritter is probably my favorite Mono Eye kit I've ever seen. The design is so cool. Oh my gosh.
We gotta go
And
back.
it-
We gotta
a
go
lot.
back and see because you did a real great on that. So now we're
I
gonna go
did.
back. We're gonna hold you to that word, Austin. And we're gonna
Oh,
go back.
great.
If you said it was a C.
Oh, I love having all my words recorded so people can go back and call me wrong anytime they
Oh,
want.
you know I will, Austin. I'll go find it too. I'm good for that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. By the way, did you guys know there's a lot of people on the internet
Yeah.
that are already in
Almost
the
too
comments?
More than that
Yeah,
are in the
exactly.
world. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird how that works.
So
Oh, man.
so I see that y'all heavy into UC. What's your favorite non-UC? Is it C wing wing stands? We
good
got a couple
one.
of wing stands.
So I think 00, even though I don't like any of the designs, but as a show, as a series, I think it's the best after UC. But when it comes to designs, actually, probably Seed stuff, especially like in Freedom, that Murasame Kai or whatever. That
yeah.
That's-
The
My
Zeta,
man.
the Seed Zeta.
There it is.
yeah, the Seed
My
Zeta.
man. Oh, bro, we gotta talk.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sure.
What are we doing now?
He's exact- Sometimes that's what happens. We get guests. Austin wants to talk to him, and then we debate if Austin will have a residency here. Or CD and I, we talk about it. You know, Austin sounds like sometimes he's going to run off with a whole nother. You're like, let's talk. Let's talk behind the scenes. I got an idea for you.
Apparently,
Put that
my
contract in.
my contract is up in a month, every month. So
Okay. Okay.
He's been on the
Oh,
10
you
day
good,
for
sir.
10 years.
Oh, I'm a big wing guy, but I gotta say, and I know I'm gonna lose all my credibility for saying this, but like I rewatched Witch from Mercury when it dropped on YouTube, and I have to say, I have a new appreciation for it. No,
Who hates it?
honestly, it was like so for me. The story around Prospera and Eric and like everything with Quiet Zero, fantastic. Everything to do with the school, the corporation, everything with the corporation is like it was written with a middle schooler's understanding of how the stock market works. Is I'm like,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that they don't care who this girl's going to marry. That's not going to affect stock prices. What is going to affect the stock price of your company is the fact that you've been running for how many months and you don't have a single product. You have a Gundam that appears in all of your marketing, but you don't have any of the prosthetics that you claim to be making. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you even go
Nope.
IPO
But would you-
without?
But where would you rank that when it comes to the Requiem for Vengeance? Let me hear that. We just had this discussion on the
Oh.
Requiem for Vengeance episode of our podcast. Witch from I said it. I said Requiem for Vengeance. I haven't fully watched Witch from Mercury, and I'm not probably playing on it, but
You're not missing much.
I am convinced. Requiem was better to me. To me, it was better. And,
Oh yeah, I love Requiem for Vengeance. Like I just have to look past the the CGI, sometimes the CGI people, but seeing the mobile suit design, seeing the battles, even using the cinematic camera in the Unreal Engine 5 like
Dude,
that way, it's what I needed.
just watch it with the Japanese voice actors and subtitles, and then it doesn't matter
I
because you
heard.
don't have to. It's like, oh,
Oh,
the lips don't match
that
up.
is a
They're not supposed
great
to.
point. I
There you go.
never thought about it, but I prefer English dubs.
So do I
I'm
typically.
that guy.
A dub
Understandable.
guy. A dub
Even
guy.
though I like
I'll be
Double
right
Zeta,
back
it's hard to watch. Okay.
That's understandable. We were actually that's what we said too. We said if you watch it, actually the Japanese dub is great. I actually
That's
like the
cool.
voices
Yeah.
on it and
That's
everything like that.
cool.
I thought the ending for it of the show was just made zero sense. But hey, you know what? It's decent overall, right? CD.
I like the ending because it was like she's a Xeon soldier.
Didn't
So it's
need
like
that.
at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
she's
you
gonna continue to invade Earth.
When someone says, but I don't know what. No, we're getting into it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's break
yeah.
down the gates.
It's on now.
When someone said, oh, spoiler alert for anybody watching, by the way, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it, go watch it out.
It should
If
be.
I don't know.
Spoiled it.
Yeah.
Oh, we already.
It's
Oh,
out.
we did. Oh, that's
Yeah,
good. Okay.
we've talked about it
All
a
right.
bunch.
All right, come on back. Don't leave. Come on back. Come on. Click the there we go. Hey, welcome back. All right. So, when she says, I want to fight for a world that doesn't sacrifice children, and then she goes off and joins a remnant unit whose job is to fight. I thought she was going to join the doctor. I thought she was going to go be a pacifist. I was like, that actually works, especially in the story of Gundam. But then when she went to go back to fight, I was like, why?
Well, I
And
see
you
it
wanted
kind
to
of
see
like
your kid.
Char. I see it like kind of Char's arc, where he's all talking about wanting to do the best thing he can for humanity, but he just wants to drop a asteroid on Earth.
I think the last thing you want to be is Char.
Right, but I think that's what works
Come on,
for her
we're
being a
getting
Xeon
normal,
soldier.
boys.
You know what I mean? It's like during that time, the Xeon ideology was like people were sticking with a side that was willing to gas and drop colonies and invade. So it was like for that
Hey, come
character to
on
turn
now.
like
It's
that, I'd like
the
that.
feds made nuclear weapons, and they were violating treaties and gassing colonies too.
Sure.
All right, there's
Mhm.
there's very bad people on both sides.
Sure.
um,
No,
That's why
yeah.
I was.
no,
That's why I was
so
like, don't join any side. Go be a doctor. Go help people,
Go be a
please. For the love
mom.
of God. Yeah, go be a
Yeah.
I'm the big
Isn't
Xeon
that what you're
apologist,
saying,
but
Street
like
Fighter?
the
Go home
way
and
I
be a dad.
interpreted the ending of Requiem for Vengeance is like, look, if
Mhm.
people are going to have to fight, I'd rather it be me than my kid. Now,
Yeah,
I know
that's
there's a lot of
Mm.
people. Shoot, someone on my Discord server was like, "Well, why didn't she just go join the AUG?" And I'm like, "How in the hell would she know what the AUG was?" Like,
Right.
still needs
Yeah.
a
Plus,
few
she's
years
We
to
didn't even
develop.
get.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
we didn't even at
but
that point. They never gave it because I was talking to Austen for quite some time about it. I don't think they did. They give us an official timeline or a year when Requiem was running. Was it like
It was
October,
0079. It was
November.
November.
November '79.
it was November.
But it
November?
actually was supposed to
So,
span maybe a couple months. Because it
so you
was
talking about if you look at it, was it going back to that linear up in space? You then getting ready for War in the Pocket, right? You better get ready
exactly War in the
because War in
Pocket
the
would be
Pocket took
happening
like
at the very end.
yeah.
The very
Okay,
end of
so
yeah, and
gotcha. All
this
right.
is November, so there's only a couple months left, really, of the war in general.
Yeah.
I mean, Xeon is in full retreat. At this point, we're all about to go back in space, and I think the Battle of Baoku is
Yeah.
going to happen
Yeah.
probably
Mhm.
pretty soon here. So everyone's gearing up really for that.
I mean, anyone who,
But
any Xeon soldier that was left on Earth after those HLVs left, it's like, good luck. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, rent a shuttle?
here,
Like,
here's the thing, though. They could surrender. So the Earth Federation had a program for if you surrendered, we would send you back into space to wherever you want to go. Just say, because the last thing the Earth Federation want is like, hey, it would be really great if we don't have Xeon people left behind. Because when wars end, you don't want the enemy troops still in
Yeah.
your country just chilling.
unless
Let's
they're
send
good
them
at building
back.
mobile suits. Then you have like an Operation
Yeah.
Paperclip thing going on, like with what the Titans did.
Oh yeah.
They're all on the moon. They all got sent to the moon. Anaheim is just plucking people left and right. Especially the guy who built a Zaku out of
Dude,
scraps.
this
You're
scientist
definitely
Yeah.
coming
he's
to
fantastic, but he's got a funny Xeon accent. Like I don't know what it's.
Yeah. Hey, we have this great project, okay? It's called the Hazels. Now, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take everything that ever exists and put it all into one. Don't worry, it's all gonna work somehow. Don't pay attention to where it's going, just build it.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Six
Yeah, they had
zero.
all the money to do whatever they could. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Oh
And
man.
that's so when it comes to UC, right? Do y'all what's y'all take or y'all top 5 UCs? Because we've had this conversation before too. We had if it's UC for me, I'm going Origins is number 1, and then going Unicorn number 2.
Mm.
And then we talked about War in a Pocket, which is tough because I don't know if I'm actually I can't remember CD. He 8th MS team might be second on my list. 8th MS team is gonna go Origins, 8th MS team, Unicorn, uh regular 79, and then the Char's counterattack, Hathaway's flash. So Hathaway's flash / Char's counterattack.
Okay.
Or vice versa when it comes to UC. So what's your top 5 UC? There's enough out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steven, I'll let you think about it. It's gonna be the original, Zeta, War in the Pocket, um, Unicorn, and I don't know what that last one would be. It would be between like I don't know, because I like Double Zeta, but then there's chunks of it I don't. But then like I like narrative, but sometimes it's a little slow because of the new type talk. Even though I like it, I just like to see mobile suit action. So yeah.
And you don't have 8th MS team in that top 5?
I have to
So
write it down.
Yeah.
well, see, I like 08 MS team, but I think because it's not part of the larger legacy of what's going on. Like Unicorn is like so much of the legacy of that Char
The
but I
main
like 08
timeline.
MS.
Yeah.
But I think I like the connection of the main bigger story that's going on in back. That's why
Okay.
narrative is up there because it's kind of connecting the dots of the new type program. So I like that. Yeah.
I see what you're
What
saying.
about
So
you,
you're
CD?
more
Yeah,
that
you got
the
your
main.
list down.
Yeah, I mean, so we did our list of all shows, but my top UC show was definitely Unicorn, and then I went 8th MS team, and then I suppose Thunderbolts would be my third UC because I like Zaku's. Like I love mono eye suits and seeing like the Psycho Zaku, like having all those ornaments. It was wild with it, and the kit's coming back out too. The big Zaku with the big gun coming back out in 2025. So
That's awesome.
I'm in Gundam for the suits and the paints and the models.
Right.
The timeline is dope, but like, give me the suits. I want to build. I want to make dios. I want to go crazy with that stuff. And Coop, your UC number 1 UC show was 8th MS team.
8th MS team? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Ooh,
Oh,
that means
Unicorn,
I
8th MS
probably
team,
rank.
Origin.
That's a heavy lineup.
But Origin
Unicorn.
is really, really good. That's the thing. Like, but it's almost like it's good because of the original Gundam. Like
Yeah,
if
the Easter eggs and I see
yeah,
what you're saying. Like you get
yeah,
like if you've never seen original, if it's easy to what's the hindsight's 2020. Like it's easy to make a great show off of what's already been out there. Just like the Gundam Wing mangas when they go back, and we actually talked about it on this episode that dropped today, Gundam lore. Some of our favorite Gundam lores and backstories, and like knowing that one of mine was for Gundam Wing, and it was obviously hindsight's 2020 is what I said. Like you could make a good
yeah.
manga off of this show because of it. But with top 5 you see, Mad Hatter, what you got? Midnight Hatter. I said Mad Hatter.
No, you're fine. Everybody does. That's like I made a poor choice with my gamer tag. No, so for me it's a Zeta, the original, Double Zeta. Does Char's counterattack count like as a movie, or do we
Yeah.
go full
Yeah.
length animes?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
Char's
I'll
counterattack,
go shit.
and then 0080.
Oh,
It's crazy. I don't have 0083 in that lineup.
I know
I
there's
It's
only
good.
gave you
83
three.
is good.
there's some guys on
It's
our
good though.
Discord server
It's
that'll take us to task on that. They're like, "How do you not like Top Gun Gundam?"
It is
yeah.
good, but again, that goes back to it doesn't necessarily connect, even though it kind of does by seeing the background stuff, like you were talking about, the whole like what was happening at the time you learned about Gato and how he was involved, you know. So that is
Mhm.
cool. It's
And then
hard
when you
because it's all really
sit down
good.
and yeah, and you sit down and you talk to somebody like Austen, who would sit there and say, "Well, the GPO 1, it was part of the Blossom technique, and the GPO 4." And like GPO 4, GPO 3.
Oh,
Golly,
yeah.
you got to see that they took the GPO 0, and the 0 had all 4 of them in it. And I'm like, man, oh
And then
man,
there's
oh
two
man. Now I'm
different
researching.
GPO 4s, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Actually, maybe more
and
because
I'm
isn't there
sitting.
like a
The
ground
Xeon
type
one, the
or
Gerbera Tetra, like the
yeah, there's
Yep.
that one. Yep. Yeah.
So you sitting up there to look like and that's when it gets like extremely exciting for me. That's when I'm like, let
That's
me know. See, I'll try to call Austin and try to like ease my way in,
Real
and
quick, CD.
it
Oh,
will
sorry. Go
be.
ahead.
Go
Oh,
ahead, my fault.
uh, I'm sorry. Real quick, CD. I'm sorry. I was. What was your number one again?
Unicorn.
I am. What?
Unicorn.
Unicorn.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Cool.
Never mind. Continue. Sorry.
No.
I don't know why I thought my brain my I'm sorry. I had literally a moment where my brain just stopped working, and it was like, yeah. CD's favorite is 0080, and I was like, no, I know CD for a long time. He's a human. He didn't choose that. Sorry, no, I'm
Double
messing with
80
you.
is
I'm
good
messing
though.
with you.
Again,
Every time. I mean, every time it's
every
good. So
time.
Christmas movie.
Yes.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the temperature to drop to about 40 before I rewatch it again.
Grab the
Like I'm telling you,
tissues and get ready.
So everyone knows I
man.
love that movie as well. It just makes me really sad.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Well, and so what's interesting is I pointed out like there's a lot of people that like obviously didn't like the ending of Requiem for Vengeance because of like what I think is like external knowledge. Like there's dramatic irony going on, which is what happens at the end of 0080, where it's like the audience knows something that the characters don't. Like the characters don't know who's in those mobile suits, but the audience does, and that's what makes it sad to us. And what's interesting um is that Al, that character, is the stand-in for the audience. Like 0080 is making a
Mhm.
commentary about the audience of Gundam. They're saying like, look, you have access to this information. You think that the mobile suits are cool. You think that war is fun, but the reality is
mm,
what's going on in the cockpits that they don't know that and they're about to kill each other and it's like when you view it
yeah.
from that angle, it's like, man, 0080 is a very damning criticism of Gundam fans.
Yeah. I'm gonna fans.
Bro.
It's deep. It's one of the deeper ones. Y'all ever teared up? Y'all teared up to
Oh yeah.
Gundam yet?
I've cried every
Which
time
one?
I've watched that last episode. Like even
Mm.
knowing what's gonna happen, I think like when I rewatch it, knowing what's gonna happen, I start swelling. Yeah,
I'm the
sure.
same way. When I watch IBO, that frog in my throat, probably about episode 40, last
Oh
like 10,
yeah, I'm in
15
the middle of
episodes.
that
I'm
right
like,
now. I
Oh
haven't
man.
finished it yet, so
oh,
that'll be exciting to get to.
I'm telling you, I'm like there's gonna be a certain. I'm not gonna say it, but you'll know it when you get there,
The
and you'll
back
be
half
like,
of season 2 for sure. It's like,
yeah,
Oh,
you're gonna be
okay.
like, yeah,
It's good
dog.
writing when it can really
And it's
emotionally get at you because that means you were
yeah,
invested. Yeah.
right. I mean, Thunderbolts was good. We're just waiting for the
Oh yeah.
just new, a new anime. And it was crazy to have a story with I tell it all the time. Again at NecoCon a few years back, Johnny Youngbosch, who's the great voice actor, right? He done Bleach,
he's
Ichigo
a
and
goat.
Bleach. He's done,
Orga
yeah,
and IBO, yeah.
Go Orga, IBO. He was Daryl in
Daryl Lorenz.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
so
actually
one
just
of the
took over
things that we
Broly in
had,
Dragon Ball too.
yeah, he took over Broly and Dragon Ball. So at NecoCon, I think it was 2019, 2020, maybe 2019, and it was if you obviously purchase a ticket, you get one item free to sign from somebody, and that's your one free item. Um, so I went and got my Thunderbolts 2 autographed by him, and he was like, "Oh man," I went there and he was like, "Oh, I love this, I love doing this, and he's, signing it. And he said, "Hey, do you know if they're doing more of this?" I said, "Man, you're the guy that's supposed to tell me. I don't know. You tell me. Have you picked up any more lines?" So if you haven't picked up any more lines, I guess not. If you asking me, I guess they're not doing
Yeah.
any more then, bro. I'm the wrong guy to ask. So,
That's
but I
hilarious.
appreciate the autograph. Yeah,
No,
so
that's cool.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how many like you see these people, these great voice actors in person, and then you see, man, he was in Gundam, and you talk to him about it, and then when they talk to you about it, you hear how they don't get people coming up to him about Gundam. They'll get them,
Mm.
he said, I'll get people coming to me about Bleach, about being a Black Ranger, and Mighty Morphin about being other voice actors, but nobody. I had him sign up
Yeah,
a
Adam, you said
custom
that
made
about Brad Sway.
Barbatos, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you just don't.
Yeah,
Which
when
is crazy.
I was at a convention that I met Brad Swaley or Swale, I don't know how to say his last name, that he voiced Amuro in the original series. And I went up to him, he was surprised. I gave him the Blu-ray of, the Gundam series. He's like, "Oh, wow." And then he went and took out his Gundam hat to put on. It's like, "No one comes up to me about this." Because I guess he does
And that's
what, Death Note or something?
Catcher. That's Catcher's voice, ain't it? The
Yeah.
dude, the Catcher
Yeah,
from
from
I
Wing.
know who to
Yeah.
look out for next.
Yeah,
I know who
so
to look out
that
for next.
I thought that was pretty cool, yeah. And
Mm.
in Double O, he's the main
Yeah,
dude buying
Cessna.
Gundam.
Yep, he's
Yeah.
Cessna.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that's right,
love it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you sit back and listen to the voice actors, and you're like, oh, and like how crazy underpaid they must be because they're in so many different series and playing so many different voices. You start listening, like, wait a minute, that's Duo's voice. Hold on, that guy's Duo's voice too. Wait a minute, is that? Oh man, hold on. And then you go back and listen, and then I'll pull up. I forgot who's in it. I think it's some website called Who's in It. It will show you
Mm.
the English and the dub. Like this is the English voice actor, and it's the sub voice actor for this game. Like, oh, this guy voices everybody. The guy who does Duo's voice does a lot of people's voices.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Off
that's
out of Gundam Wing.
like random Oz
Crazy.
character. That cracks me up too. Is like a lot of those early 2000s dubs. You notice that like it's like, wait a second, that's one of the main characters, but he's also this random pilot who just got killed, and he's this politician that's like
yeah, I like it
pulling
when
out
that
his
happens.
squad
Like, I
for
was
duty.
watching Battlestar Galactica for the first time. Steven had recommended. I don't know if you guys ever watched that. There's this dude in there that always talks to the blonde chick, and I was like, "That's an interesting dynamic." Then I'm watching the Castlevania anime, and Alucard is that dude. Like at the same
Yep.
time, I'm watching them for the first time, and I'm like, "Whoa, that is a really cool connection right there." And that is some really completely different acting that is occurring. So it's like,
Mm,
man, that guy must be good. Yeah, I love seeing that stuff. It's like it's like art.
that's
It's like we're looking at people's Gunpla, but except we're seeing this performance and we're admiring it,
yeah.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I want to ask y'all if y'all don't mind, because right now we're running a 2-year anniversary giveaway, which is on a YouTube video. It has the PGX here. We're giving away the PGX here, right? And we, yeah, right. And one of the question, well, one of the rules is answer the question, leaving the YouTube comments, right? Is what kit do y'all wish if y'all could make a PG? I don't know if y'all are PG guys, but if you could make a PG, what would it be?
That's a good one. I do have that Unleashed, but if they had a
Mm-hmm.
Hazel, perfect grade Hazel, that would be it. 100%.
That's a big ass Gundam.
I'm like Alfred Hitchcock, just
Yeah.
or what is it?
Oh man,
What about
Oh
you?
man.
if I had to release a PG, I would want to see. God, for me, it's a toss up between the Totus Ritter or the Altron from Endless Waltz because I want to see something with sub arms. Like,
Moving.
Toads
Yeah,
Ritter.
that would
That's
be
a
an
good one.
amazing kit.
Would be
That would
I
be
have an
huge.
amazing to
unbuilt
see
Toads
it.
Ritter sitting down here. I need to build
what
it.
is wrong with you?
It's good.
Austin, any takes on that? Just
No,
be
he said the right
careful of
answer.
what?
No, he said
No,
the
I'm
right
just
answer.
asking.
Hazel.
Like a,
I'm sorry.
no, I'm
Continue.
talking about his Toads Ritter.
Oh,
I'm
Toads
talking
Ritter?
about his Toads Ritter. Yeah.
If to not not a lot of color accuracy, but that's kind of just what happens with Pale Riders of any kind. Bandai keeps the tradition alive with the P
Yeah,
Bandai
huge.
Pale Riders always never being color accurate completely. So
Yeah.
a lot of masking, a lot of painting, but it is worth it and it looks amazing. It's gonna be a really great shelf piece, especially with all of its sub arms coming out, holding the you get the mega beam saber, so you get the chopstick, the ones that look like essentially chopsticks for it.
Yeah,
So
kinda like the double Zeta.
it's yeah, like the
Yeah.
double Zetas beam sabers essentially. So it's gonna look great. That shield though, it's all one color. You need white and red, so let's a lot of curve masking too. Which if you're not gonna airbrush it, you can rattle can it too. But truth be told, you can brush it, and honestly, brush paint it. You're gonna have more fun. It's gonna be quicker.
Oh.
And you know what? Yeah, everybody needs to work on our brush skills. I personally need to work on mine.
Well, and
Yeah.
one thing,
You know,
'cause I'm big
it's
into
interesting.
gimmicks. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I was gonna say the Pale Rider thing you brought up. Yeah, I have 3 or 4 different Pale Riders. All of them require painting. Like, and I was disappointing. Like, I would look at the like shots of it. I'm like, this is not even close. Like, there's little things they could have just easily done.
And none of
You
the
know?
vents are color
Yeah.
accurate. They're all just blue. We need
Yeah, the
yellow.
space type too is so
Yeah.
annoying. The back
This-
things on the space type. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that was
The
annoying.
side thrusters on the legs, you always have to mask off those squares and paint them white, and then paint inside them black. It is one of the most annoying thing. And part of me is happy that they're P Bandai, because I would hate for someone to go out, buy that kit, and figure out how much they have to paint it to make it look accurate, right? But at the same time, I don't know why Bandai is just like, we have all this technology. We just made
know.
a perfect grade the size of like what is that? A pack of what is it? Tic Tacs, right? We just did
Mhm.
that. We can't give you a thruster this small on
Yeah.
a kit this big. I was like, what's happening? But
Guilty.
but hey, it's Bandai.
Well,
It's Bandai. Sorry.
But hey, I'm the biggest like Bandai apologist because like recently one of my subs gifted me the Kotobukiya Geno Breaker repackaged, the Kotobukiya kit. What was so weird about that build is that it has like some vents on the legs, and the way that the vents are built is it's like there is a 1/4 of a millimeter tab for each of the individual fins of the vent, and it's like, well, they don't ever move, and they're all the same color as the part around it. So why in the hell didn't you just make it one part to snap on?
And I'll say, and so Kotobukiya, the Crack the Code, they are made to be painted. So they try to separate as many things as humanly possible to make it
Yeah, so
easy
you can
for you.
just
But the problem is the word easy. Because when you separate literally everything, you just sit there thinking, okay, this is going to be a project. This is going to be a month or two of me putting this together, and it's not going to look that great. I'm going to take it outside. I'm going to trip. I'm going to fall. It's going to land into into the sewer, into a little patch of water. Coop's going to be over there with his metal build taking pictures and just look at me like, man, that sucks. And then
It's
go
like
back inside.
It's like one of those cake shows where it's like they always like have their masterpiece cake that's like, okay, now you have to transfer it to the judges table, and you're
Right.
Right.
Or that show, was it that TLC show where he's literally picking up the cake out of the truck and they trip and it falls, and now it's just like done, and everyone just stops and looks, and that's the show. Everybody, goodbye.
Wow.
pretty much.
Well, hey,
And that's what I remember.
oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say, guys, I do have to run,
Okay,
but this was
Oh, yeah.
awesome. I'm here longer than I thought it would. CD, Coop, Austin, it was awesome
Yeah,
talking to
no,
you guys. We got to do this again. I could go on
Yeah.
forever.
Absolutely.
no,
And
I'm
thanks for some of
wanna
the
be
questions
respectful
you
of
asked
everyone's
too.
time. So if we
Like,
can, let's call it for now. But I mean, shoot, we could keep this going for
Call it
days.
for now. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
for now, yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
definitely be back. Y'all guys were awesome. I mean,
No,
great
yeah,
hospitality.
You,
Great,
you,
y'all,
you turned the
Appreciate you
camera
I
guys.
back
mean,
on us,
y'all.
like you're interviewing us on our own show. But yeah,
Well, we always
guys.
want to know, man, because
Oh, go ahead.
make sure that y'all keep up the good work, man. That's all we ask. What y'all
Oh,
do
you
for the
too.
community. We hear a lot of people let us know. Once we shared that, like when we shared the announcement for the night, people are like, oh, yo, you're gonna be up there. You're gonna be what y'all do for the community is definitely getting seen. So y'all keep it
Likewise.
up as well.
Yeah, Yeah, likewise. Hey,
Thanks,
and
guys.
for you guys listening, links down below in the description to everyone on. So follow the crew on Instagram and go check out the Undergated podcast. New episode out today. So if you haven't listened to it, you can keep listening to the guys right now.
Yeah.
No,
There you go.
thank you
There
all
you
so
go.
much for coming on. This has been an absolute blast.
Absolutely.
guys.
Undergated, never underrated.
Amen.
Indeed.
Cheers.